Hello, everybody. Pop culture curator here. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late. Please bear with me. I just got home, kind of rushing here. Yeah, my phone's not going to charge. I'm screwed. Oh well. So it's obviously Monday night, so we're doing Lost in Space. I'm going to be a little scatterbrained here at first. Please bear with me. Um, I'd like to say hello to everybody in the chat. I know there were people here already waiting. I really appreciate that. Let me shout out a few names here. Yeah, PvP here. Jill somewhere. Basil Battle Dragon. Good to see you, Basil. Glad you could make it. All right, now let's see if my phone charges. I dropped my phone today, my only phone, my main phone, my important phone, and now it's not charging. So that is not a good thing. So it's got like I've been trying to conserve the battery all day. It's at about 60%. And once it dies, it's dead.
How
so
does it
I've
usually
got an over.
charge? Do you have to plug it in, or do you
Yeah,
have one
USB.
But so something maybe broke on the USB then, maybe, perhaps?
Yeah, when it fell, it was plugged in and it fell and it landed right on where the cord goes into the phone.
Oh,
So it damaged it where inside the phone, unfortunately.
Oh. I wonder if it might be the cable. If it might be the cable that got damaged.
Nope.
So,
No, I already tried different cables. It's the phone.
Okay, I was just going to suggest. Yeah, okay, that's not good then.
But hello, Basil. I'm glad you could make it. And I want to make sure I read that out. Basil says hi, Pop. Hello, Basil. So good to see you. Basil says hi, guys. Cheers. And PvP is saying hello to Jill. And PvP says hi, Basil. Basil says hi there, Pleasant Valley. Ola Greg. So good to see you, Ola Greg. Welcome. Ola Greg says hello, everyone. And Basil Battle Dragon says, oh no, how was it dropped? Because my left hand doesn't work anymore, damn it. I'm sorry to cuss. But I with these stupid seizures. I had 2 this morning. Ooh. And now I can't grab anything. My left hand is just like totally useless.
Oh boy.
So I was just trying to move it and it fell because I don't have any grip on my hand. Wait, that's neither here nor there. Oh, Basil says, oh, it might be done. Do you have insurance? I don't know if you mean on the phone or health insurance, but if I mean on the phone, no.
I think he means the phone.
No, I don't. And Basil says, hi, Ola Greg. Lemon Pie, hello. So good to see you, Lemon Pie. Lemon Pie says, howdy, all.
Hi, Lemon.
And I wanted to say hello to my fellow panelists. Hello, Gorillas Random Thoughts, and hello, PvP. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. Can't complain.
I'm doing all right there.
Well, glad you guys can make it. So I assume you guys saw the episode?
Oh, yeah. I watched it last night, actually.
Okay. I think I watched it the night before.
I will say something that'll make both of you happy, though.
Uh-oh.
Dr. Smith is starting to grow on me, but maybe not for the reason you guys think.
Okay, well.
Oh, that's interesting.
The reason he's growing on me is that he's a natural bullshitter. No, not a good bullshitter, but a natural bullshitter. And I'm a bullshitter. And, you know, I can see through his bullshit right away, around clear, you know. But I'm thinking that maybe that's why he started to grow on me. His grow on me.
Well,
Well,
I do think
yeah.
that I do think the Robinsons, the parents, do see through a lot of this crap. It's just that they're not going to stand there and call him on everything. Otherwise, they're going to spend the whole hour arguing with him, maybe. But I'm sure I know that definitely the father definitely sees through a lot of the
Yeah.
crap, and I know the mother does. She takes it easier than the rest of them.
Hey,
I think Don's the main one that sees right through him.
no.
Yes.
Well. Here's the problem. Not all of them have to see through it. You just have to convince one of the six.
Right.
That's
And
all you have to do.
it seems to be Will usually most of the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's why he's chums with Will, right? Because he knows he can manipulate Will. Because Will's young enough to believe some of the BS that Doctor Smith tells him, of course, right? So
Well, in a way, Doctor, I don't know why, but it's like I don't know why, but no, Will. Excuse me, in a twisted way, Will kind of looks up to Doctor Smith, and
yeah,
so
it's
in
kind
a
of
way,
weird, isn't it, when you think about it? It always kind of did puzzle me watching the
yeah, we
show.
did mention last week that the relationship between them two was starting to bloom, and we definitely see more of that this week,
Oh yeah.
where those two are bonding and they're becoming a duo or a couple. And Basil says, "Slow down, Pop. I am doing my best. Thank you, Basil. I I was actually surprised because the doctor's appointment was at 4:30 my time, so I scheduled this stream for 6:30 my time, 2 hours after the appointment,
Mm.
because I knew that it was about an hour drive with traffic. So I
Uh,
was trying to allow for traffic and everything else, and it was cutting it so close. Oleg Greg says, "Hi, Basil and Lemon. And hey, Hungry Boy, so good to see you. Glad you could be here. Hi, guys.
I'm hungry.
I'll just be listening today. Doing art for a person in a bad way like Pop is. I'm so sorry. I hope you get better soon, Hungry Boy." And Basil says, "Pop, do you use Android or Apple? I use an Android phone. I used to use Apple, but I won't anymore. Especially when they were intentionally bricking them so people had to replace them. That's when I said I'm permanently done with Apple for the rest of my life." Oleg Greg says, "Right, Pop." And Hungry Boy says, "Hola, Citrus and Basil." Lemon Pie says, "Hi, Pop, PvP primate, unsorted mental imagery." Lemon Pie says, "Hey, Euler, Basil, Hungry, Jill." And Basil says, "Simple mobile uses the T-Mobile net." Yes, anything that has mobile in the name uses the T-Mobile network.
Oh, T maybe. Oh,
I had a friend that used to use T-Mobile. He used to swear by it. But from what I've
well,
seen, I don't think it covers what I really need.
I've
Mm.
heard it's called T maybe.
That's not what you want in a phone.
Well, well, honestly, I've tried all the different ones, and I think the worst one, hands down, nothing comes close. But the worst was actually Sprint, and I'll never forget it, and I'll never use it. Is Sprint even still a thing?
I think they were
I
bought out by AT&T, weren't they?
I don't know, but they
Yeah,
sucked. God, they were horrible.
Oh,
I
that's a
haven't heard
quick
of
way to find
Sprint.
out.
Yeah, I haven't heard of those guys in years. Come to think of it.
Yeah.
Basil says both excellent networks, and Hungry Boy says, "Hey, you dear Jill." Oleg Greg says, "I've come here for the free popcorn."
Oh,
There you go. Well, that sounds delicious. Oh my God, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten since the day before
yeah.
yesterday.
Oh, that's not
Oh,
good.
I can't
yeah.
cut anything and I can't open any cans, but oh well.
Can't you get a
I'm sorry.
roommate to open a can? Like they sound like they're kind of useless roommates there,
Well, they're
Pop.
not here very much.
Hey,
Oh,
By
I
the time I
see.
heard somebody come home last night, it was like 12 or 12:30.
uh, I'd send
And
you
let
my
me
electric can. I'd send you an electric can opener there, but
there
this
is
will
an electric
require.
we have an electric can opener. It takes one can to hold the can and the other can to push the handle.
Oh,
Lemon Pie says mobile homes are made by T-Mobile.
yeah. No, Sprint. Okay, to answer your question, Sprint went out of business. Their network shut down as of May 31st, 2022, and
Wow.
Good
T
riddance.
and T maybe bought them out.
Okay. Well, isn't T-Mobile owned by AT&T?
Oh, okay, just a sec.
I could be wrong, but I thought AT&T was buying everything up. Lemon Pie says, "Pop, I'm sorry you are going through such a rough time." Thank you, Lemon Pie. It's okay, but I will be going back to the hospital. And by the way,
Okay,
I'm gonna Go ahead, Gorilla.
Okay, they're owned by some German company, Douche Telecom.
Well, the name explains it all, doesn't it?
Well, it's
So,
I don't. I,
DEUTSCHE. Here, I'll just share my screen. I'll just share my screen
that's
here.
a good one. I needed a good laugh. Oh, that's good.
Well,
me too.
that's
Uh,
hey. This if the Germans want to make a name like that, it's called Douche Telecom.
I think it's Deutsch, isn't it? Is that the way the Germans
I
pronounce
know.
that?
Look at the screen.
Yeah, well, I think it's pronounced different, a little differently than it's spelled.
I would
I
pronounce it
think it's
differently as
Deutsch, Deutsch Telekom. Maybe I don't know.
Possibly.
I know very little about German language, so.
uh,
Uh,
Scurvy Preventer says douche means German.
oh, I'm not touching that comment. There could be
No,
German people
no
watching this.
offense. Right. No offense if there's any German people out there listening now or on the rerun. We were just joking.
Hey, I'm German. I can say it. Well,
Okay, there you
part
go.
German. I'm a mutt. I'm mostly Czechoslovakian, Bohemian, German, and Native American. So I can say jokes around those four people.
That's
Well,
quite a combo.
I
Wow.
have some German blood too. I have a grandparent's last name was Schneider, which was a German name.
Yeah, I'm 50% British because my mom was born in the UK actually before she moved to Canada when she was like five, a
Cool.
million years ago, and uh, and I think the other half is mainly French, and I think there's some German in there as well. Actually, come to think of it, so yeah.
And
Yeah.
Oleg Greg is laughing, and Jill says, "I will just, I will be just 5 more minutes. Sorry
Oh,
for my tardiness.
that's not so bad then.
It's
Yeah.
fine, Jill."
Yeah.
Gorilla Jaw says, Oleg Greg, lemon pie. I meant Deutsch. And yeah, what I was gonna say, guys, is I'm gonna apologize ahead of time if my memory doesn't quite isn't quite up to par, or if I have delays.
No, we
So I'm
completely
No,
sorry about
no
understand.
that.
need, no need to apologize, Pop.
And a little second apology is it looks like I won't be making the horror stream tomorrow or Gilligan's Island the following day because they want me to go back to the hospital because I guess it's urgent.
Well, you got to look after your health first. I mean,
Well, it's not like it's going to get better. They just want to treat me, but it's not like they can reverse the process.
well, it's not going to help to delay things, though, right? So,
I know, but the way I look at it is that the time spent in the hospital is less time away from my dogs. I'd rather just stay home and just be with my dogs and just let the chips fall where they may if I had a choice over
mm,
the matter. And Oleg Greg says Scotland the Brave. There you go. Okay. Is my phone charging?
oh, that would be good.
It shows charging slowly, which is better than it was doing. So
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's not totally broken. Maybe something just got loosened or something temporary. Or
it is. It's loose. I got to jiggle around the thing, but at least because I was
Oh,
panicking because I'm thinking that's the phone that I used to go to the hospital, and
right.
that's my only way of communicating with you guys while I was in the hospital. It's the only way I can run
Mm,
StreamYard or
oh,
any of that other stuff.
right.
oh man! If you could just run to who's your carrier?
Verizon.
Oh, see, I had that problem with there. They cleaned out my. I took it into them and my old phone, my phone into them. I cleaned it out and they gave me like granted it is an expensive cord they gave me that helped with my uh, copper prongs inside their bent.
Well, yeah, and I know you can clean the jack, but this is definitely not that because it was charging until it fell, and when it fell, it was bent, and I knew as soon as I looked at it, I was like, "Oh no!"
Mm, boy.
But okay, it was probably worse. It's USB 3 or USB C. It would probably be worse if it was the older USB, those little tiny ones, whatever that is. My
Oh,
older
the
phones used to
micros.
have those. Yeah, and they sucked because they always broke all the time. Deutsch, LOL, yes, says Hungry Boy. Lemon Pie says, "What's this heart thing? Do just send hearts up?" I guess it does. I haven't
I
seen
don't
that.
know. If
But
it
it's
does
too
anything,
bad.
I'll just do it.
But I was looking forward to doing Fright Night tomorrow. So I do apologize, guys. And I don't know how long I'll be in there.
Well, that's
So
okay. I didn't get around to watching Fright Night anyway, and I probably won't tonight because I'll probably just have supper and get some sleep after the stream's over tonight. So
well, it is
I
a good
probably would have
movie.
missed it. I probably would have
Yeah,
missed it anyway, to be honest. So
yeah.
Okay.
Just focus on your health, there, Papa.
yeah,
That's
take care
what
of
matters.
yourself, man. Take care of yourself first.
Well, like I said, whatever they're doing is, it's not going to reverse the process the way I look at it. Like my hand, left hand, I'm not going to regain use of that. So I've already accepted. In fact, every time I have a seizure, I lose more and more. So originally I couldn't use the fingers, and now I couldn't use the hand. Now the wrist,
Mm, oh
and now
gosh.
the elbow is getting weaker. Where it's
Oh
like just lifting my arm feels like it's made out of lead.
gosh, I'm so sorry to hear this.
Oh, it's all right. Lemon Pie says, "What's this heart thing do?" Just that's right. Sorry. Ola Greg says they gave gorillas soil and green. Oh no, that's not good. Hungry Boy says, "Hola, Antiderivative Jill." So today, or we are going to be covering the episode. Once again, I'll be reading from my book of Lost in Space: The Authorized Biography of a Classic Sci-Fi Series by Mark Cushman. And today, I'm one-handed, but I'll try to get to the pages as best I can. We're going to be covering the episode "The Raft." Um, that I still think starts off with the best cliffhanger out of the entire series. And
Yeah, that was good. Definitely.
all right, there we go. Written by Peter Packer, directed by Sophie Martin, and produced by Erwin Allen with Jerry Briskin. So basically, the synopsis is Will has come up with an idea for building a small two-man spaceship by utilizing parts from the Jupiter 2. Everyone gets to work on the project, and soon a small spaceship is constructed, and Don is due to fly it the following morning. And I will describe the prop when we get to that prop. Uh, According to the assessment in the book, what their opinion is, The Raft is merely an average episode from this period in the series history. But considering what would become the norm in season 2, it is well above average Lost in Space. So they don't have very, very high hopes for season 2, apparently. The writers were still trying to feature the entire cast at this point in the series. Since the latter half of the episode would primarily focus on Dr. Smith and Will, the first half leaned toward John and Don's effort to find a way off the planet, with the other cast members all figuring into the situation at hand. The character that is kept in the background, as it had been for the previous 2 episodes, is the robot. Will and Smith formed a bond in Wish Upon a Star, and they take it a giant step forward here. One scene in particular, which is both humorous and touching, has Will ask Smith if he could stand in as his father. The exterior shots of the shipwrecked Jupiter 2, with the spacecraft to its side and the balloon floating above the raft, were beautifully executed for this era and medium. Camera angles of this type, with the added element of a matte shot, added greatly to the scope of the production. And I'll cover that when we get to that scene. The bush monster is effective, which we will get to. And of course, like I said, the bush monster is played by the same guy who played the monster from last week. The guy that was going because Dr. Smith was asking for too many wishes. And I'll be covering a little more on that man too. Apparently, because I did bring up his name last week, and I didn't get a chance to call it my IMDb here. But I was reading up on him, and they called him there on set. They called him the resident monster because since he was 6'7" and he was an ex-basketball player, I guess he was very handy playing the monster on both Lost in Space as well as Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. And he also popped up, I guess, a couple times in Land of the Giants and some of the other Irwin Allen's productions. He died, unfortunately, tragically, at the age of 35 in a car wreck.
Ouch.
In the early 70s, like 1973. We'll
Wow.
get a good look at his face in a future episode. So we're going to have an episode or two where we will see him actually play a character without
Oh,
makeup
good.
or a mask.
Excellent.
And he was the same guy who played the Cyclops in the very first, or what was the second episode?
Uh, no, no, a third episode maybe.
Hello, Jill.
Hey, Jill.
There will be
Hey.
giants of
Hello.
the earth. Right. He was the same guy that played the giant Cyclops.
Oh, the guy who is a bushman.
Yes.
That guy.
Last week he was kind of like a mummy kind of guy,
The
and in this
rubberoid.
week the rubberoid. That's it. And this week they called him the bush
Oh,
monster, the two-headed bush monster.
is he the? Is he? Does he always play the sentient alien
Yes, he
in the
does.
suit? Neat.
I'm not sure how
Um,
sentient the Cyclops was, though. He seemed a little bit. Cyclops seemed a bit clueless.
Dawson. His name was Dawson Palmer. Died
Huh.
1972 at the age of 36 in a car wreck.
Wow. That sucks.
So yeah, it's too bad it's relatively young.
That
And
is.
also
Yeah.
this bush monster costume, which we will be getting to soon. He also wore that in Boys to the Bottom of the Sea, the same costume, because Irwin Allen was known for using his same props and costumes and other things over and over, which is that's okay, I guess. Most shows at the time did it.
Makes sense. It works as seaweed.
Well, I don't know
True.
why, but for me,
Yeah.
what brings to mind is that prop computer from Star Trek TOS, where we see it pop up all the time. It was on the table in the recreation lounge. It was in Metamorphosis. It's that little computer with all those lights on it. It's like rectangular and long, and it just sits on a table.
I
It's so
remember that.
multifunctional.
Right,
Yeah.
it pops up, and I've lost count how many episodes. But yeah, Star Trek is known for the same thing, obviously.
Well, I guess with the budget they were working with on a lot of these shows back in the day, I guess they kind of had to be frugal in some ways, right? You
Yes, they
know,
did.
because then they could spend more money on like the space battles and the big special effects scenes and whatnot, right? So,
Yes. Early episodes of the series had many firsts, and this one is no exception. This will be the first time we see Dr. Smith clutch Will to himself using the boy as a shield and letting out a scream that at the time would be called womanly. The character is not yet camp, but the effort to soften his edges was accelerating. The Raft was one of the first story assignments given out after Buck Houghton stepped down as producer. This was Peter Packer's fifth assignment for Lost in Space, following The Derelict, Welcome Stranger, The Oasis, and Sorry Wrong Planet, which was later abandoned. So if you're wondering what that is, it was abandoned.
ah,
The script was
Hello,
nicely.
Cylon 2099.
Oh, we got somebody new in the chat.
Well, here, let's catch up on the chat real quick while we're at
Hey,
it.
Oh,
Cylon, good
sorry,
to
I
see
didn't
you.
mean to interrupt
hi,
the
Cylon.
No, Jill,
flow
thank you for
there.
calling that out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Hello,
Silent.
Cylon. Welcome. Yeah, maybe we go and get caught up. Are we behind on the chat? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Did you see where I left off there,
Yeah, I
Gorilla?
got it. I got it. Basil says, roll out the barrel. We'll have a barrel of fun. Cheers, 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 cheers. Roll out the barrel. The gangs are all here.
That's an old song. Roll out the barrel. We'll have a barrel of
That
fun.
reminds me, my liver my liver thanks me for taking it easy on him. So that means my liver needs to get punished here. So I'll be
Uh
after we get catch up on the
Oh,
chat. I'll be back.
oh.
It's been
okay.
a whole week and 2 weeks.
I went mostly a week
Yeah.
without drinking. And Scurvy says, I just killed a roach. I am Spartacus. Okay, I did
Ouch.
that last part.
Okay.
But Sprint bought BTVT Mobile. He says, hey, girl, sing us a song. Oh, Jill, you're responsible. Remind me tomorrow. I will do It's Raining Men for Pop. Remind me tomorrow.
I won't be here tomorrow, but I appreciate that.
Well, I can still make the video and send it to you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll remind you.
Yeah. If my phone's working, I'll be able to watch the stuff. I'll still be able to communicate with you guys off and on from the hospital.
Yeah.
And I'll keep you up to date with what happens.
Papa, are you okay? Are you going in tomorrow? You're going in tomorrow. I didn't hear about that.
I had a
I know
yeah,
you're not okay.
I had a doctor's appointment today, which was a follow up to the test from when I was
Mhm.
first in the hospital. And I guess they said it's really serious, so they wanted me they were going to send me directly from the doctors to the hospital, and I said no, no, I got to go home and at least take my dogs out and feed them and let the roommates know that hey, I'm going to be gone. So I told them that I'll show up, I'll turn myself in tomorrow.
Mhm.
But
All right.
yeah, um,
Obviously, your health is more important, but will you be there for Mirror Mirror? I'm just curious.
is that tomorrow morning?
Yes. Uh,
You know what? I will. I'll do mirror mirror before I turn myself in. Believe me, I do not. I'm in no hurry to go into the hospital. So
okay.
anything that can delay it is a relief.
Well, this is a good way to delay it.
It is. I completely agree. And thank you for reminding me. That means I need to watch it tonight after we're done with this, so I can do my
Mhm.
homework and get ready because it's one of my favorite episodes. So I definitely do not want to miss it.
Right. That's what I would think.
Okay. So how are we doing on the chats? Are we caught up, Gorilla?
We got a little bit more to go.
Thank
Basil
you.
says no, they are owned by T Maybe. No, AT&T
Oh,
does not own T Maybe.
gotcha.
Oilers,
I'm probably got it confused with something else. AT&T bought something, and I just don't remember what it is.
no, they bought DirecTV.
No, it was another phone company. I just don't remember which one.
Maybe Virgin.
That's possible.
Yeah, I can check that here in a second. Um, well, Greg says those were the days, my friend. Good,
Those
good
were
time.
the days, my friend. I thought they'd never end. I'm not a
Yeah,
singer, but I do remember the music.
I don't. Uh, Verizon holds Total Wireless, another good carrier. I think T maybe might be the best in California. Well, Verizon bought up Midwest Wireless, and they bought up all kinds of them when the phone wars were really going.
Well, if I can
Uh,
get this phone at least to last, because I just made the payment on it, so if it can at least last one more month, because after that I'll probably be going for an Obama phone, and I think that uses the T-Mobile network.
all right, so can you guys
Oh,
read this?
and a quick update, you guys. I guess I can bring it up now, but you guys, I don't know if you guys know who Nina is, Nina and Jedi Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Well,
know them.
we're gonna try to see if I can make it to Arizona next month
Oh,
or
wow.
later this month. Nina said I hadn't thought about it, but she messaged me last night because she knows of my housing situation. Because as of the first of next month, I won't have a house. So she's talking about. She said that she'll drive here in her van with her and Bill and pick me up, and I'm like, I really appreciate that, but I just know my luck. They would break down on the way, and I'd hate to see them broken down in the middle of somewhere between here and Arizona. It's a 12 and a half hour drive at best if traffic is going great. So after her and I kind of talked and discussed it back and forth. And by the way, if I get to go out there, I get to keep my dogs.
Yeah.
So, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to see if we can raise enough to get a rental. And that way she could drive the rental from there to here to pick me up and then back there again.
That would be great. Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope everything works out. That would be awesome if you had a place to stay. That would be
Well,
great.
yeah, exactly. And because I'll be able to apply for assistance and it'll give me a chance to get on my feet. And they're very patient. They have a spare room. They have a room that has a door where I can let my dogs out. So that I'm
Awesome.
kind of excited. I actually have something to be hopeful for. I was kind of
That's
happy
great.
Yeah.
last night.
Wow.
Well, Jill, I got four more bottles of
That's
liquor
great.
here. If you
Uh
want,
oh.
yeah,
Mm.
if you're up for another stream,
There
or
Uh,
we go.
that's just it. That's what I was telling Nina. I said, well, I can't ask the same people again. They were already so kind. And so I don't know if I could try to ask other people or what I'm going to do, but it's going to cut because I was kind of looking it up last night. It's going to cost about between 1,000 and 1,200 for the rental plus gas. And I wish I had that because people did donate to my fund, but I had to use it unfortunately to give my landlord for rent because otherwise there's nobody here to take care of my dogs while I'm in the hospital. So, but Nina said she'll see what she can do. She said she knows people. So that's still it's up in the air. We're not sure if we're going to do it. It depends if I can raise enough money. Is how that works out.
Well, there's still time. There's still a few weeks, right? So,
I know, but everybody we know has already given,
I would
and
have
I don't
given. I
expect
haven't
them to
given
give
yet, and I
again.
wish I could. But when my damn car seat broke last Thursday, now that's all I'm thinking about. How much money is that going to cost? Because I phoned them, on the weekend, and of course, I left my number with the lady I talked to, and they never called me back. So now I'm going to be phoning them tomorrow morning
Of
because
course,
I don't go into work till 10 tomorrow. So at least I'll have some time to call them because they open at like 9. So, but it's just a pain. So until I
well,
find
I'm
out what's
sure.
going on with that, because it might cost hundreds if they have to replace the whole seat, right? Because it's such an old car is the problem. So.
That's why I'm guessing you might have to. Wait a second. I can't believe I didn't think about it sooner. Did you check to see if you can go get the seat at a junkyard from another car?
Well, that's what I will ask them if
No,
they
you
say,
no. You won't ask the car dealer that because you're talking about talking to the car manufacturer. I'm talking about calling a local.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I had thought
yeah,
of
because
that
here they
actually.
have places like Pick Apart. They have different names
Oh
like
yeah,
that,
we have those. Yeah, we have
where
we have
you can
a
go
lot
and
of
pull it
wreckers here.
yourself. That might be
Yeah.
your best option.
No, it's definitely something I was thinking the other day in my mind, right? So first thing I want to do though is take the car in because they said until we actually take a look and open the seat up and see what parts
As
are
long as they
actually
don't charge you
broken.
for the estimate.
Uh, well, they seem to be pretty good because, they said if they have to keep the car, they actually will pay for the taxi to take me to work and back.
But they
They
might
have a
charge
like
you
a
for the
they have
estimate, is what
no, they
I'm
have a
saying.
courtesy. No, I asked the lady outright. I said, "Does that cost?" And she's like, "No, we have a courtesy service for people that you bring their vehicles in." So they seem to be above board so far. So
Okay.
I I have to take it in though, have them open the seat, see what's broken, then I'll know if they have parts or not, and then I just take it from there, right? So it's like one
Yep.
step at a time.
Yeah, I really hope things work out for you guys. And
Yeah, it's
if
like
we do need to have more fun, just let me
yeah.
know.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping our Lost in Space nights can continue, indefinitely. So,
Well, I'd
let's
like
hope
that
Great.
everything
too.
works
That's
out.
another thing too. Is if I go, if this doesn't work out, if I can't go with Nina and Jedi Bill, the only other alternative I have is I have to give my dogs to the SPCA, and they're going to put me in a quote homeless hotel, which doesn't really. It sounds like a drug den. Honestly, it doesn't
That
sound
sounds
very.
kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
but okay,
That sounds scary.
yeah, because it's not most of the people that are homeless here are violent or mentally unstable or on drugs or all the above.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up here too. Anybody that would want to sleep outside, basically live like an animal, has definitely got some issues for sure.
So PvP, I'm an animal for wanting to camp out in my backyard
No,
during the
no, I
winter
didn't say
summer.
camping. That's not like living permanently like a lifestyle like, every day of the year. I mean, there's people out there in the middle of January when it's like -20 and they're sleeping outside.
Hey,
Like it's
hey,
insane, right?
Well,
January,
as long as you got that
January,
fentanyl,
hey,
Lemon
January in
pie.
LA there is that is not that's like 60 degrees. They're fine. But let's catch up on the
yeah,
chat
Bay
here.
No,
Area
I'm
doesn't.
I'm
Yeah,
talking Celsius though. There's a
Oh,
difference.
that's beautiful weather. That's speedo weather. That's
Well,
speedo
yeah,
weather.
I guess you are in a cold part of the U.S., aren't you, Gorilla?
Yeah, but Bazil says, by the way, I was a cell phone sales rep, so I am able to give quality advice. There you
very
There you
go.
cool.
go.
Thank you,
There you
Basil.
go.
Thank you.
And here's Jedi Bill's channel.
Good old Jedi Bill.
Then Herc says, scurvy.
Yeah, I hope that works out.
Scurvy
That'd
says,
be
yo,
great.
Herc. Basil says, huh? Shame on you, scurvy preventer. That poor innocent roach had a family. LOL.
There's no innocent roaches. I lived in an apartment for
Nasty.
over a
Yeah,
year, and I hate those little suckers. I was killing like I don't
me
know five
too.
or six a week at least
Right,
to
and
get
the way
it.
they breed, oh, by the
Oh,
hundreds and thousands, I hate them too.
and I was on the
Yeah, they're
third
considered a
floor.
delicacy in some parts of the world. But
Well, not
Euler
this
says,
part.
Yeah,
Euler says, thumbs up, please. And Herc says, sorry to hear about your roach drama. Ick, lol. Euler
roaches are
Greg
gross.
says, cheers. But still says, one day at a time, Pop. You don't know what the doc can do yet. Don't start this give up shit.
No, I haven't given up. I'm just saying that there's no one doing what's already been done. Like I won't be. I know I won't because I asked the doctor today, and I know I won't regain the use of my left hand. The thing is I need to stop the seizures as soon as possible because
Yeah.
even though they gave me anti-seizure medicine, I've still been having seizures. And I told the doctor, I said, when I left the hospital, they gave me anti-seizure medicine, but I'm still having seizures. So I started doubling down on the anti-seizure medicine. Oh no, you don't want to do that. And I said,
Is
well,
there?
I'm having seizures and I don't want any more.
I'm just wondering, Pop, is that the only medication available to treat that, or are there maybe alternative
She didn't say. She
medications
just
they could
said.
try?
Well, I asked her. I said, well, maybe I need a stronger dose or something. She goes,
Well, yeah,
well,
or
she
maybe
said,
a different type. Like it might, you never
well,
know when you try something different, it might work better, right? So.
what she said was she goes, you have to be on it for 2 weeks before we can increase the dose.
Yeah, well, that's usually the way they go. They usually start with a small dose, and then they will increase it as the weeks go by, right?
Yeah,
So,
right. In the meantime, I'm going to continue doubling the dose.
well, you got to do
Screw 'em.
what
What
you
do you
got
got
to
to
do.
lose, right?
You got to do what you got to do, right?
Right. It's terrible,
I get it.
and
I get it.
not to mention inconvenient.
Hey, I got my car seat propped up with a big plastic storage bin.
That
So
works.
it's like it works. It works great. And
All right.
I measured it with my measuring tape and I thought like this is just the perfect. It's like 28-inch long storage bin. It fits just like a glove in the back seat. And it's like, hey, I could probably just keep driving the damn car till it
Yeah, I
dies
was going to say
with
maybe you'll
that.
get used to it. You won't need a new seat.
It works. Yeah, I am used to it already after a few days. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I shouldn't even bother with the damn service center, right?
Hey guys, getting off the the topic. So if we could all get back on the the thing and stop all these distract. Oh look, ice cream.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
That's a good
Hello,
idea.
Sean Carter and Gap After Dark.
Maybe we should
Thank you,
actually talk
Gorilla.
about Lost in Space tonight at some point.
I
Yeah.
know it's 37 minutes into the stream. I'm sorry, everybody.
Let's go
Yeah,
for
we
it.
are
We-
way
Well,
we,
part
behind
of that
up
is my
here.
fault. I had to be a little late.
we can motor through this one though. This episode's not that complicated, so we can motor through it.
All right.
Okay, so are we caught up on the chat? Let's
Oh,
do that
no.
real quick, and then we'll
Oh,
get
no.
started.
All right. Brazil says God works miracles all day, every day. Oiler Greg says Pop is correct. We saw the same props over and over again. Welcome, Cylon. Welcome. We'll get to the episode here quickly here. Scurvy says the roach tried to hide near my TV, probably trying to watch free programming. Hey, this is how you get rid of those roaches. Just start charging them rent. They'll disappear.
Actually,
Yep.
actually, you could probably just put the Disney Channel on, and the roaches would like immediately leave your
No,
your
that'll
residence.
track them. That'll track them.
Oh yeah, good point. Actually, you're probably right.
Oiler Greg says, warning, arms waving wildly. Brazil says, let a repair shop look at it. They might be able to change the charging port.
I thought about that, but I don't have the money.
Yeah. Oiler says, hey, Cylon, by your command. Cylon says, hello, Oiler Greg. Oiler Greg says, red eye moving back and forth. Limit says,
That's the only
Oh,
good
Cylon.
Cylon. Screw that new stuff.
yeah. Limit says, hello, Cylon. Cylon says, indeed. Cylon says, hello, Limit Pie.
I like the new one.
Herc says, team maybe.
No offense to people that like the new one. I just prefer the classic. I like
I
the
never-
I like
I
a
never-
robot.
I've
Yeah.
never seen the new one actually. That's one show still on my list.
Well, PvP, the Cylons are human.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I've
yeah,
read
that-
enough.
that
Not
about it,
saves on
exactly
budget.
human. They're not human.
No, I mean, it saves on budget. They're in human form. They're
But
not robots.
they are look human, right? It's the
That would
point.
be like that'd be like right now. Like right now, we're looking at the B9 robot from Lost in Space. That would be like having they made a new Lost in Space, and the robot was in human form to save money.
That
It
would
does
suck.
it for me. Tremendously.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I like my robots.
Some human
I
guy
would say
waving his
that's good.
arms around going danger, danger wouldn't quite be the same effect, would it?
Well, the new one is a guy in a suit. It's okay. I'm not a fan, but I know I'm not going to knock the new Lost in Space. I know there's people out there that like it, but
I haven't
I'll
seen that
just.
either, actually.
It wasn't that great.
But yeah, it's a guy in a suit, but
I
it's
think
more like
usually
a.
usually
Go
the
ahead.
original's the best, usually.
I like to see the mechanics. When you see this robot, you see all the gears moving, things moving,
Oh
even the
yeah.
sound effects. You can hear the whirring and all the gadgets going, and I think that's a lot of the appeal of this robot.
Well, he feels so authentically real, right? I
He
mean, I know
does,
it's fantasy. I know it's just a guy in a in a robot suit, but it it just feels right. It feels real, which is why it's so great. And the design, B9's always been my favorite robot of any sci-fi show I think I've ever seen
They
because
still
he's
haven't
just
named him
cool.
that. I only know that because you told me.
No, he is
they
actually,
never. I don't know if they ever actually call him B9 within the show.
Oh,
Do
they
they?
don't. I've been waiting for
but
that.
it's definitely in the lore, right? That is his
Yes.
designation, the B9, which is a play on words because it's the letter B and the number nine. But we all know
I get
what
that.
benign means. It means like kind, and he's like a good robot, right? So he's benign.
Right. Right. But I don't think they call him. Right. Just to clarify, they do not call him B9 within the show. It's just robot.
Yeah, I think usually I really can't remember. I mean, it's been so long since I've
Yeah, I
seen
think
them.
I would remember if they would have called him B9. And I don't think they ever do.
Okay, well,
They don't even
But
refer. You think they could have maybe in the pilot they could have referred to it, but
I
no, they
remember
don't.
what early on he's the environmental control robot. They call him that a few times, I
Yes.
think. But yeah, yeah, maybe they never do. It's been, as I say, it's been like 12 years since I watched these, so it's long. It's like watching them over for the first time. Actually, it's been really great fun.
And we get our catastrophic explosion.
Yeah.
We'll.
Um,
Sorry. Go ahead, Gorilla. We got more
we were still
chats.
working.
And
Yeah,
my favorite
we were
cliffhanger.
still working on him when we got sidetracked again. Perk says T maybe bought Sprint. Silence says DirecTV owns TNT. Silence says hi Herc. Herc says hello, hello, Silent.
hello, Herc
Hunger
130.
says hello. Jill, this is for you.
Jill. Hey, Matt
And
G. Matt G.
Jill's number one
Hey,
fan.
Matchy.
Good
All
to
us
see you,
other ones
Maggie.
say hi too,
hey Matt, I see how we rank. We didn't even
And
get
the
to
rest.
others this time.
and the rest. Yes.
Yeah, Silence says hello, hungry for Kinder Days. Oiler says sounds like a good plan,
Kinder.
Pop. Basil says yes. DirecTV is ATT company now and all that jacked up. Basil says cool. Herc says hello, Jill. Jill says hello to Herc. Uh, Woman says hello, Jill. Jill says hi, Scurvy. Basil says I have to say I'm really impressed by the way you were able to put these streams together. It's a great source of entertainment. I love it. Well, thank you.
Well, the credit goes to Jill with these fantastic slides, which once again I really appreciated, Jill. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
your slides
welcome.
are awesome.
They really do help.
Your
Well,
slides
if
are
you
awesome,
forget,
Jill.
if you forget what happened in the episode, you could just look.
Without your slides, it would be really tough doing these streams. Like, come on. I mean, your slides are great.
All right.
That's why I don't do watch parties because you're looking at a blank screen, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing watch parties, but like on YouTube, it doesn't really work for replayability.
Not at all for replayability.
I think it's
And
just,
Cosme is I'll just say unreliable at best.
I think the only reason to do a watch party is if you just want to hang out with some friends and have a bit of fun, right? Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what they're
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
But hey,
So-
that's good.
Yeah, I enjoy my watch party. So anyhow,
Yeah,
Scurvy says here's your problem. Eggnog clogging the seat adjuster.
That was hilarious.
That was a good comment. Lemon, thank you for keeping that
There it
running
is.
gag alive. I appreciate it.
I should just keep this comment up.
Yeah, everybody check out Gorilla's Random Thoughts channel.
Yeah, especially when I got a bunch of people go wondering what the heck the tool was I posted. Yeah, Euler says your gonculator is malfunctioning. Basil says Uh-oh, beware, there are Cylons in the mist. Ha ha ha. Hello there, Cylon 2099. Massey says, geez, I hope it works out. I hope you don't have to go to that hotel. Man, I'd rather see you go to a nice neighborhood and just find park benches and parking lots to sleep in than that scary hotel. Hey, I'm pretty sure the mayor of your city there has a couple extra rooms they could rent out or they could spare out. Buddy Almaty says, I knew someone who was homeless for months. He did just that. He did eventually find someone to stay with. Sean says, hello, everyone. I'm driving, so I cannot respond, but sending a hi first to everyone. Well, hi to you, Sean.
I should
Hello,
Brazil
have.
says,
Sean. Drive safe, Sean.
yeah, let's not get into the homelessness. It's a negative topic.
Yeah, definitely not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
And,
try and stay positive.
and Gap says, hey, Pops. Gap says, how are you feeling? Limit says, hey, Gap. Sean, hey, Scurvy.
Good
Brazil
to see
says,
you, Gap.
there
Hanging
you
in
go,
there.
Gorilla.
Hey, Gap.
Casing it, man, sing. Veggie says, LOL. Brazil says, oops, there you go, oh, Gorilla. Sing, man, sing. Gap says, my channel got wiped out. I lost all of my
What?
540 strubs. I had to
That's terrible.
I had to one to my name. Hey Gap.
What?
Uh
No, I understand. Get that happened to me, but I only had like I think around 50 subs, so I
How
know how
does that
devastating it is.
happen?
Yeah, it happened to me last year.
Did you ever figure out what caused it, Pop? Like, were you
No, I just had
hacked, or
to. No, I
was
just had
did
to restart it
YouTube
all over.
maybe
hey
YouTube messed up or something? Like,
hey
I
Gap.
never found out. I just had to
Here's
restart all
here's
over.
what you do. Go on Twitter, and go. I can't believe YouTube and you at YouTube on them. Call them out on your Twitter. There, go wiped out all my subs for wiped out my entire channel for some reason. I don't know what happened, and
Well, I
they'll
know
actually
with
respond to
me,
you on Twitter.
well, with me, it wasn't just YouTube. It was my Google account. I had to go in and like pretty much because Google's connected to everything. So if I remember right, I had to go in and fix the Google account first, and then once I did that, I had to reestablish the YouTube. I don't know if that's Gap's problem or not.
hmm,
Yeah.
Google
Well,
can be
that's
a
one of
pain
those
at times.
I call them out. They'll respond to you on Twitter if you call them out. Basel says, "Wow, sorry to see that Gap." Hungry says,
Yeah.
"Hi, to Gap." Gap says, "So I'm going to be trying to subscribe to everyone, so it'll take a little bit of time." Hey, Hungry. Basile
No
says,
worries,
"Pop
Gap.
health first.
And
Everybody else."
also everybody, shout out, resubscribe to Gap After Dark's channel. If you see him out there, sub to his channel, spread the word, everyone. If you're watching this on the rerun, check out Gap's channel. He's a fantastic guy. I hope it's a guy. I hope I didn't offend you.
Yeah, Gap's a guy. He's a wonderful guy. Wonderful guy.
I know.
Everybody in
So,
our chat's wonderful from the ones everybody I've talked to.
well, Ola
And
Greg likes the new Battlestar Galactica.
oh yeah, that 2004 one. I thought so far while I'm watching, it's pretty good.
Okay.
Bazil says, "Oops, T-Mobile, T-Maybe, damn typos, lol." Herc says, "Gorilla is Oiler Greg." Hey, uh, Oiler says, "Hey, Gap." Gap says, "Hey, Jill." Jill says, "Hi to Gap." Oiler says, "Yeah, probably my favorite robot." Sean says, "I enjoyed the new one, but I haven't had the desire to rewatch it. But I understood why OG fans have issues." Um, yeah, this is Hungry Boy's channel. Oiler Greg says, "Gunslinger from the Westward 73 was excellent."
Yes, I agree.
Welcome, welcome, Canadian Spider-Man. Welcome. Great to
Hello,
see you.
Spidey. Yeah,
He
good to
says
see you,
hello to
Spidey.
Pop. Gap says hello to Canadian. Good day to you, Jill, Gorilla, PvP. Good day to you, Gap. Oh yes, others still, LOL. Jill echoes through space. Man, we gotta be catching up here soon. Hungry says, "Hola, dear Spider." Hungry says, "And hi, Oiler." Hook says, "Phantom Boomer and I have a hate relationship with Cosby. A fight with YouTube watch parties all the time, as you
I
guys
really
know."
feel for Phantom Boomer because I've been on there, and he does struggle with Cosby. That's what I'm saying. Is Cosby is such a pain. I feel sorry for Phantom when he's on there.
All right. Brazil says you need to do another GoFundMe for medical care, my friend.
Well, I still had the same one there, But like I said, everybody I know is already given, and I can't ask them to do it a second time.
All right. Hungry says, for Kinder Days, good to see you. Huh, oh, that,
Kinder.
oh, that, oh, oh, Hungry changed his name. Okay, that, no, no, I was wondering where the hell this Kinder thing was coming from. Damn it, Hungry, you changed your name.
He
hey,
Hungry
does.
for kinder days.
He does tend
Kinder.
to do that
hey,
occasionally.
hey,
I've noticed.
that is spelled Kinder. You go to the store, look at the egg, that is Kinder.
Look at the what?
It's the
Well,
Kinder.
they're chocolate eggs, right, with a
Yeah.
little toy inside them.
Oh, I haven't heard of that. Okay.
Oh, we have Kinder here for sure. Yeah, it's I guess it's mainly for kids, but yeah,
It sounds
I,
like it, yeah.
I've eaten a few of them. The chocolate's not bad actually.
The toys, or what are they, little plastic things?
Yeah, they're like a little egg inside the egg, right? So you've got the
Oh,
chocolate
okay.
egg on the outside, you've got the little
Kinder
like
eggs.
plastic egg on the inside, and then you unscrew it, and there's some kind of weird little toy inside there. And I
Well,
guess,
and
you know,
we do have kindergarten, so
Yes,
well, that's
I
it.
suppose it could be true that he's hungering for
yeah.
kindergarten
I
days,
think it's
but
like
kinder kind of makes
Hey,
sense.
hey,
Yeah,
Jill,
I'm hungry for kindergarten days
Jill,
too.
I get
Yeah,
asked every time I take the kids to the store. He asks for one. I know how it's spelled that way, but anyhow, we're getting off topic.
No, they're
yeah.
both the same
Yeah,
word. They're both
We
different
we
words.
really well. I think Kinder's
They're the
like a.
same. They're spelled the same.
I
So
think
I'm correct
Kinder
too. We're both
eggs are.
correct.
I think they're like from Switzerland or something, Swiss chocolate or I don't bloody know, but something like that. I think it's European. Uh, Anyway, we
uh,
really should get back to the
yeah.
episode, perhaps,
All
guys.
right, Canadian says hail to you, buddy. To Herc, Gap says hey Herc. Lucille says yeah, junkyards are a good place for parts. I used to buy parts for my old AMC Javelin a lot, as well as my
I haven't
old
heard that in a
CEO
while.
Metro. Hungry says hold on, Sean. Herc says hail to the amazing Canadian Spider-Man.
Hey, Spidey.
Herc says Mr. After Dark. Brazil says yeah, Pop. We'll keep it going.
Thank you,
Here's Sean
Basil.
Carter's channel. Here is Gap After Dark's new page.
There we
Here's
go.
Bert.
Everybody follow that.
Yep, and Gap says, yeah, that's what I had to do. What Pop said, I had to reset everything in my Google account, but then the channel is gone.
Ah,
Hey,
Wow.
that sounds
Gap,
like the same thing that happened to me.
yeah, Gap, call them out on YouTube. They're
Well,
making
yeah, but
tell
it doesn't
there.
do you any good. That's what I'm saying, Gorilla. Is if it's Google, YouTube cannot and will not do anything about it. They can't. It's Google,
They
which
did
is
to
the.
me. They responded to me.
I'm saying I think the only time YouTube can do anything about it is if you're having the issue only with YouTube. But if it's in your
Yeah,
Google
no,
account,
but
it's a
no,
lot more.
take YouTube in. They can fix it because they are part of Google. YouTube is owned by Google.
Oh, well, it definitely never hurts to try. Go for it.
Yeah, Gap says thanks, Jill. Brazil says boric acid works great. Try it. It says I lost all my videos. Got to start from scratch. I'm sorry for
Ouch.
that.
Oh
You should have
no.
backed them up on the external hard drive or
Yeah,
something, maybe.
it still
Yeah,
says
but he
for
didn't know
more
that was going to
credit.
happen.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, we never anticipate these things, do we?
Well,
Until
like
after
right
the
now.
fact.
Well, yeah, I can understand. Like right now, if I lost all mine, they would be gone. I don't have mine on an external
Ooh.
hard drive. I should do that, but at to this
Well,
point, I don't yet.
yeah, I'm guilty too. There's a
How
lot of
about you,
stuff.
Jill? Do you have yours backed up?
Yeah, I do have my videos backed up. I have them on my hard drive. So
Then
whenever I finish a
okay.
stream, I just download the video.
Then I'm going to
I'm
do
not
that as
surprised
well.
that Jill has everything backed up. Very efficient computer wizard.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Brazil says, haha.
Well, you never
Hey.
know when you're going to get canceled.
Oh, I just remembered. But all my stuff is also on, I think, Tubi and Twitter. Yeah, because I simultaneously broadcast on those other channels. Even though I don't get very many viewers, they are on those other networks.
Oh well, that's good.
For now. But I will back them up when I get a chance.
Okay,
It's a good idea.
yeah, Basil says, hey, if it works, girl, great. It's good for a temporary fix. What is? Oh, no. Hunger says, laughing my ass off. I do that sometimes. It's a shtick of mine. Yes, I have no idea what's going.
He
I
There's
think
means
yeah, I
he
think he means
changing his name is his shtick. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know what the temporary fix is, so, but haha, that's a scary picture of Grandpa Joe on the screen of no. Oh, Mother says the aliens you get to eat the item by covering it in chocolate. Bazil says, "Oh, the Disney Channel is torture for the roaches." LOL. No, 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 no. Bazil, you remember, ro- Disney attracts roaches. Attracts.
Actually, Disney's probably being written. The Disney shows are probably written by roaches. Come to think of it.
Pretty much.
Well, there's roaches in their ashtray, I can tell you that. Hungry says, laughing my ass off with it. Well, actually, that'd probably improve their writing. But
Yeah, they probably
Hungry says,
the roaches probably would be more intelligent than the writers.
yeah, Hungry says, or Lou says, hungry for Kinder eggs. Hungry says, damn it, citrus, lol. Uh, Hungry says, kind days rock. Kinder chocolate is slightly green for chocolate. And
Oh,
See,
gee.
there you go. The proof that I chose the correct context pronunciation for that
yeah,
one.
Hungry's
So
laughing.
kinder days.
Bazil says, tasty Soylent Green. Gap says, can't afford a backup driving. Oh, I know how you feel there. Waller says, sweet backup. Use Odyssey. And here's
Right.
PvP
Right.
channel, and I'm starring this one. They're asking wait until we get a little bit into the episode.
Thank you.
All right. So here we are where the Will's experiment went awry and the rocket came crashing back to the planet and we got our cliffhanger. And it
That
looks
is
like
a
everybody's absolutely fine.
that's a great intro. That really is a good one. The special
Yes,
effects were fantastic there. I
it
gotta
is.
say,
It's very good and all practical. Yes, all practical
it's
effects.
amazing how good they could do these effects in
now I want
these shows, right?
now I want to see the practical effects where they accidentally add a little too much accelerant to their booms.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Well,
by the way, go ahead, Jill.
they do make you think that they're in danger, but luckily there was a force field.
Yeah, that good old handy force field, eh? But hey, this is the one. This is one. You guys probably know by now. I'm not a huge Peter Packer fan. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is an entertaining episode and everything, but I mean, at the start of the episode, Will and Penny are standing safely inside the Jupiter 2, watching this experiment, take off. Right, the robot launches the little probe and it's going up, up, up. And then what do? Instead of staying safely inside the Jupiter 2, they say, hey, let's go out and take a look, right? And it's
Well, I
like,
think they did that because the rocket was supposed to detach from the balloon at 1,000 feet. So I think they thought it was at a safe distance, but I
I
could be
guess,
wrong.
but still, I think it was like the story had to happen and you had to have that cool, intro, with the special effects. So, but
I
logically,
felt
wouldn't
like that was discordant to PvP. I agree because he was saying the reason they had to be inside was because of the danger of the rocket, and then they go outside before the rocket explodes
well, that's the
or
thing.
takes
Yes.
off
Wouldn't it be
as it
prudent
should.
to just stay safely in the Jupiter 2 until the rocket actually launched?
Yes.
Successfully.
Well, it would be, but as a kid, it's not as exciting because you can't see it from in there.
I guess,
That's another
but
thing
these
Or
they didn't
are
think. They didn't think about that. They didn't have external cameras on the Jupiter too. They didn't think
or
about that,
perhaps
right?
Will
I
knew the
guess
range and the location of where to stand to be behind the force field.
Yes, that's
maybe.
very likely. And thought of.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's basically like the plot device to make the scene happen with the cool special effects, basically. So,
Yes, and they just
but hey,
brushed it
I don't
off.
have a problem with it. I think it's awesome. Like I love that thing, fireball coming down on top of them is very very cool for sure.
And it's funny because Doctor Smith says he didn't even hear it. And you would think a noise like that is like, my goodness, how could you not hear it?
He was probably napping again.
Well, no, he was awake, but he said that he was dictating his, I guess, his memoirs.
He's writing his book in this one, right?
Well, I loved it because they asked him whose point of view is it from, and he said his own, of course. So that kind of leads you to believe, my goodness, what's he writing about when it comes to everybody else?
He's probably writing about how great Dr. Smith is, I would guess.
Of course he is. How he's the hero and he saves everybody and all that good
Uh,
stuff.
Dr. Smith, my life as a narcissist.
So here's where Don is upset because he realizes that he is, as he says, that he has been hoarding like a miser the leftover fuel they had. That was the only fuel they had to get off that planet. And
Hmm.
apparently it's gone. So the first thing he does is he thinks it's Dr. Smith. So he goes and he grabs Dr. Smith from his quarters and brings him over. And Dr. Smith, for once, is genuinely innocent and doesn't know what's going
Yeah.
on. And he is
Yeah.
confused.
Automatic A for this. Automatic A for this.
Why is that?
Okay, so we get Dr. Smith's usually guilty 99.9999999% of the time. And the one time he's innocent, they grab him by the shirt collar, ready to punch him, and I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he didn't. He started choking him, didn't he?
I'm not quite sure, but they're about ready to at least punch him and grab a shovel there. And then all of a sudden, Will's like, "Oh no! I must have accidentally used more fuel than I thought it was." And they're like, "Oh, okay, it's okay."
Actually, that's another point. Like, wouldn't Professor Robinson and Dawn, like have a lock system on the fuel supply where you'd have to get permission to actually access the fuel and use any of it? Like that would be sensible, would it not?
Well, you would, but then that's if you're suspicious. I guess if somebody's going to do something with it.
Well,
So
I
it's
mean,
like
with
a
Smith
maybe.
hanging around, I'd want
Hey,
everything locked up.
hey, PvP, that takes an extra 20 seconds to unlock, and we don't have that kind of time.
Well,
Well,
I do
and
think
it's a
though.
good thing. It's a good thing Will's honest because when Will saw how upset that Don and his dad were, he could have just said, "Oh, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to get in trouble."
The thing is, once again, it's Peter Packer's, having to move the story along, right? So, you know,
Well,
this is
I'm not
lost.
saying that I'm not saying that Will's like Wesley Crusher, but having science experiments cause a catastrophe for the crew is kind of his thing.
Hey,
That's true.
Yeah, it's one of
he's
Will's
not like
more irresponsible moments in
hey,
season one, I think,
hey,
really.
Will is nothing like Wesley Crusher because I don't want to
Thank
punch
God.
Will every week.
No, I know. He's nothing like him, but this one attribute that reminded me of it. Especially the part where he's taking fuel from their main fuel source. And Wes is also allowed to mess around in engineering.
Yes, I agree. And they did show. I know they don't spend a lot of time on it, but they did show Professor Robinson genuinely upset at Will because right here when he's doing the testing, he's still upset with Will, and the mother even says, you can't keep yelling at him because he wants to yell at him again. He says, "Where's Will?" And she says, I'm not. In fact, that's what he says here. He wasn't being destructive. He was only trying to help. So there's the voice of reason again. So what they decide is they're going to try to come up with a new type of fuel. Oh, my dog. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sure.
Oh,
And they're trying to use plasma as a fuel.
yeah.
Oh, do you
All
want
right.
to read the chat while he's gone?
Yeah, Hunger says thanks. Yes, thanks, Joe. Brazil says thanks, Joe. Makes it fun. Houston Oiler says Houston Rockets back-to-back champions, 94 and
You're
95.
welcome.
Oiler says I need a robot or a force field. Edgy's laughing, and here is Oiler Greg's channel. All right, we're completely caught up.
Oh, that was it. All right.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite parts of the episode, actually, where they were talking about different technologies. Like, I don't think they ever talked about plasma before, did they, in any of the previous episodes? So there was some new stuff that Peter Packer actually introduced here, which for me boosted my rating of the episode considerably. And
Yeah,
I,
except
yes, go ahead.
We do know that the Jupiter 2 is powered by atomic energy, and so how that ties in
Well,
with
yeah,
using plasma.
I think that's the thing though, Jill, because they don't try and power the Jupiter 2 with the plasma in the episode, right? So that
Well,
is kind of consistent, I suppose.
no, yeah, they do, but they blow up the console.
Yeah, but they don't actually well, I
They
don't know.
try.
Maybe they figure it's worth a shot, right? Maybe they just figure let's give it a shot. You know, it'll either
What
work
you
or it won't,
what you
right?
can do, you can heat gas into a plasma state for a fusion reactor. Not that we actually figured out fusion, but
Actually,
that
we, we have figured out fusion there, and we just finally started making just about not cost effective, but we're actually getting just about the same amount of energy out of it as we're putting into it.
not exactly. It's like just a little tiny bit. The amount that we would have to make in order for it to actually be a viable power plant is astronomical. We're nowhere near it. Being able to do more than just maybe lighting a light bulb for like a minute. I
Yeah,
don't really know how long.
I remember they've been
It's not.
talking
It's
about
not
that
much
for
yet,
they've been talking about this stuff for years
but
now,
it is
right?
exciting stuff. We have been making progress. You're
I
right,
remember though, this is like decades
but
old, right?
we're not close yet.
This is decades old. They've been talking about this as a possibility, right?
Well, yeah, yeah. A good example is like, for example, if we go to Mars. If we go to Mars and we make it there and we land, it's like hurrah, wonderful. But guess why we're not coming back? Because we don't have any fuel to get back. Fuel is the biggest part of the cargo to get the rocket off of Earth and to exit the atmosphere. So once it makes it to Mars, it's like whoopee, that's great, but there's no fuel.
So we
So
need
the
an Amazon Prime delivery.
Amazon Prime delivery. So what they're right, exactly. So what they're trying to get away from is liquid and solid fuel. They're trying to get a renewable fuel source is what we need to adapt, so that it doesn't have to run out like it currently does with today's technology.
They say that they're getting their plasma from ionized nuclei and electrons. So I tried to think about it. Where do they get the plasma itself? Are they harvesting the plasma from, because I know that they say that the planet makes mini electrical storms. So are they harvesting the plasma from the lightning bolts, or are they just getting it from the air? What are they doing?
They're going to show in future, if I remember right, in future episodes, they're going to show them actually harvesting or mining. I guess I should be more accurate for fuel, and I'm not sure they'll cover it. It's been years since I've seen it, but they will show them harvesting fuel, and they're pulling it out of the planet. I just can't remember exactly how.
Oh, great. I can't wait for that one.
Well, the whole thing with the plasma fuel is like, I mean, I never expect a Peter Packer episode to be like anywhere close to being scientifically accurate in any way or believable even. He usually will just kind of, throw this stuff into the plot line somewhere just to basically drive the story forward, right?
Yeah,
And
he just got lucky that today we really do plasma really does have a place in fusion energy
the thing was though, Jill,
experiments.
back in 1965, was that even a thing then? Like maybe
No,
he really got
that's
lucky.
that's what I'm saying.
you know,
He got
like
lucky. It's,
yeah. But
but that's
actually
half
this
science fiction.
well, I think this one's kind of got some science fiction, but maybe more science fantasy personally. But the thing that I really love about
I'm
this episode,
I'm happy he tried.
oh yeah, no, 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 don't get me wrong. This is a decent episode. It's not bad. But what I really love, what actually makes the episode for me is the last few slides you're showing here of all this weird technology we haven't seen in any previous episodes that I can remember. And it's like the strangest looking gadgets, right? I mean, this thing is awesome. And that's why I put in my in my PvP subtitles steampunk tech question mark, because this stuff reminds me very much of steampunk, which is very cool because steampunk wasn't even a thing back then, right?
Yeah, it's
No,
so lucky that John was doing his own experiments while his son was at the same time.
Yeah, but this thing's cool. I mean, now this is a practical effect. I'm guessing with actual real, like gas.
Definitely. Yes, that was a real
Yeah,
claim.
that's very cool. Very, very cool.
Un-
Just like the spaceship itself when we get there, soon. Very cool tech in this one. That's my favorite part of the episode. Actually, is the really weird kind of steampunky type of tech, right? So,
I have notes here on October 18th, notes from an October 15th method meeting. So this was shot in October. Regarding Peter Packer's second and final draft script, shared Irwin Allen's thoughts with the various department heads. Scene 17, it was decided that Tony Wilson, who co wrote it, would give the plasma a more futuristic title, such as superplasma, hyperplasma, etc.
hmm.
Will's last speech regarding building a small spacecraft out of parts of the Jupiter. Now that we are using the diving bell from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, that's what I was going to mention.
Oh, cool. Of course. Yeah.
Sorry, so coincidentally here they call it their what is it? Their something chamber. I can't remember exactly.
They really
But
build that thing so quickly.
yeah, and if you look at it too, it's like okay, I don't like pulling out the realism, but when they show the bell next to the Jupiter 2, you're thinking, where did they hide that thing in the Jupiter 2?
Didn't
And
they
how did
say
they
it?
carry it out there? That thing looks like it's made out of lead.
Well, didn't they say it was actually a reactor chamber inside the Jupiter too? They
That's
just
it.
kind of like they just
That's it.
pulled it out and stuck it
Right.
outside.
That's right. It was a reactor chamber because they showed Don having to get rid of the radioactivity. He's got that little
That's it.
fogger machine,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
and then they have a Geiger counter. Right. So yeah, we're
Yeah.
going to show that where he's having to. I don't know if you can. In fact, I don't think we really can get rid of radiation that easily. But oh well.
I thought it was very cool, though. I thought it was kind of hilarious, actually. It's like, yeah, dude, let's just pull the reactor chamber out of the ship. No worries about that, right? Like,
Right.
I love it. That's one thing I kind of do love about Peter Packer. Sometimes he writes the strangest stuff in his stories that kind of you scratch your head and you go, does this actually make any sense? But it's like it kind of works in its own weird, quirky kind of way, you
It
know?
does. Oh, and I get some notes here. I'll save those for later. There's scene specific.
Should we catch up
So
on chat real quick?
yes, thank you, Gorilla.
All right, Canadian says plasma is in plasma cutter. Oiler Greg says the atom and you, the miracle of modern science. Euler says I only glow at night. It kills mosquitoes too. And Matt G says just got back from the movie theater. Doubleheader today. Oh well, across the Spideyverse and Labyrinth.
Labyrinth? You talking about the '80s movie?
Yeah, and he says that will
Yeah,
melt
Matt
your
G
mind.
watches old movies at the theater.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
we are.
that's great that
That's
he has a theater that shows
wow.
that old stuff.
Yeah. There used to be lots of like three or four in Vancouver when I was at art school 30 years ago, but there's nothing like that anymore around my part of the world. Like those second run movie theaters that showed old films were great. That's one thing I really miss. Like they were great.
That will melt your mind.
All right. Scurvy said, "Oh no,
Nope.
no." He says, "Scurvy says, hey CSM." Weller says, "Cool, Matt G." Matt G says, "Hello all." Lemon says, "Hi, Matt G." And Matt G says, "Yes, Bowie Labyrinth."
That is
Weller
the original film then.
Weller says a field technician would swap that out for you quick. And plasma is so bloody hot that it scares me. No naughty joke from you, Citrus. The temps are insane.
Well, that was one of the obstacles of the of re-entering the Earth, like with the shuttlecraft. Like that's why they put those tiles on the outside of the shuttlecraft because that is extremely hot. In fact, we talked about that in what was it, the second episode where John Robinson used that suit to land on the planet.
Yeah,
Or
his
something
spacesuit.
like that. spacesuit
Mhm.
with the rocket jets on his arms.
Yeah, I still wonder how he actually survived that one.
Barely.
Seriously, you're just a little suit, flying down, onto the planet surface. Like, okay. Anyway, Smith is I guess
Well, we
he's quite
figured out
right.
that it was the kind of jacket that you put the that you have your burritos in, and when you cook your
Yeah,
burrito, it
right.
stays
There you
cold
go.
on the inside.
I don't know if I want to cook my burritos, in my suit. Like that sounds a bit scary, actually.
No, it worked better when we did it on the live stream. It didn't. It doesn't make any sense now.
Anyway, Smith is he's. It seems like he's wrapping up another chapter in his book here, right?
Yeah, he finished. He finished that chapter of that book. It was pretty good. I
It was
went through all
right,
the slides of the.
right. And needless to say, he loves the sound of his own voice. He even compliments himself on the wonderful use of the English language.
Smith should go into politics. He'd be perfect at it, right?
Oh yes, he would. He's a snake.
I can already tell you he wouldn't sell very many books because look, he writes them way too complicated that most people are just going to get bored out of their mind. Like, how many of these older books where the language has changed and uses language like that have actually made it through time?
I was reading here also is the fact that Jonathan Harris would rewrite and insert a lot more of his own dialogue was almost unheard of back in the days.
Yeah, just a
One of
sec.
the Go for
Yeah,
it.
well,
Yes.
have a good night, Gap.
Good
Good
night,
night, Gap
Gap.
After Dark, and good luck on your
I
channel,
got.
Gap.
Yeah, I hope we can get it fixed.
Good night, Gap After Dark.
Yeah, that's a
Thank
shame
you,
that
bud.
happened. Okay, so most of the actors back then were not allowed to write their own scripts because what happened was the script had to be sent to the network, approved by the network, and then they, once it was approved, the censors, the network, everybody saw it. Then they were able to shoot. So that's why they weren't really allowed on the fly to change dialogue. It was not. It was something that's not allowed on most networks. A notable exception was Steve McQueen on Wanted Dead or Alive. Current examples of this kind of input were James Arness on Gunsmoke, and Robert Culp and Bill Cosby on I Spy.
Huh.
In
Interesting.
McQueen's case, the actor felt the writers and the producer were giving him too many lines. He preferred his character, bounty hunter Josh Randall, to be less conversational, a man of few words and swift action. So
Interesting.
McQueen would cross dialogue out, turning a paragraph of verbose speech into a single taut line accompanied by one of those famous McQueen looks.
Also, he'd have less lines to memorize every week, right?
Right. Which also, if you
Smart
remember right,
guy.
right, and if you remember right, that's also something Clint Eastwood did also. Clint Eastwood was a
Yeah.
man of very few words.
Well, sometimes a character can be more interesting when they don't say too much, right?
Yes. And the more they say, the least interesting they are, right? No
Yeah.
one was going to dare argue with Steve McQueen in The Star. In fact, 2 years into the run of Wanted Dead or Alive, McQueen had producer John Robinson replaced.
Hmm.
As for James Arness, he was one of the producers on the long-running Gunsmoke, a position which allowed him a say over his character's lines. Then there was the case of Culp and Cosby for I Spy. They were filming I Spy overseas, and in an age before fax machines or the internet, NBC had no choice but to reluctantly release its right to approve dialogue changes.
Yeah, I guess they did actually film a lot of I Spy episodes on location back then, didn't they?
Yep. In
That's
the
one
same
reason I
way,
love. Yeah, that's a great show.
right, in the same way, Jonathan Harris was changing his dialogue and actions the day before certain scenes were scheduled to be shot. But
Hmm.
without the benefit of an insulating ocean, he was also starting to change the dialogue of the other characters interacting with him. In an interview for A&E's biography titled Jonathan Harris, Never Fear, Smith is Here, Bill Mooney said, we'd start working on a scene together and he'd have a line, and in the script I'd have my reply. And he'd say, no, 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 dear boy, no, no, no. Before you say that, the robot will say this. And then I will say this, and this, and then you will deliver your line. Harris would bring Moomy into his dressing room and work out his ideas. then handwrite the changes into his copy of the script and send it back to Tony Wilson's office. Wilson would look it over and, in most cases, authorize the changes. Having the pages retyped, then sent to CBS for approval, then distributed to the set to be inserted in the scripts.
I wonder if that happened in this episode because Will does seem to have a little bit of attitude with Smith
He
at
does
Yes,
at
one point.
later on in the episode, definitely. Yeah.
it is. You're right.
Good
It's
point, though.
definitely right. It is definitely here in this episode because that's what I'm reading from is the paragraph covering this episode.
It's
She,
impressive though how he would actually you know rewrite some of the scenes, the dialogue, and they would actually Irwin Allen was actually okay with him doing it because I mean you think about it, he's a pretty damn smart dude. Like he you know because he really I think probably improved a lot of episodes by rewriting the dialogue the writers had actually written originally, right?
right, and you think about this, he was also rewriting like the interactions with him and the other characters, like with him and Don.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
he probably added a lot of that humor.
Yeah, I think probably. Well, he probably was probably largely responsible for Smith kind of going in a more campy direction as the series went on. I'm thinking.
Right, Sheila Matthews, Irwin Allen's girlfriend. By the way, she will show up in a later episode as a Viking. I will point her out, who assisted Alan at the studio and would one day become Sheila Matthews Allen. If anybody remembers the Poseidon Adventures, she was the nurse that was in the as they were trying to make it to the top of the boat or the bottom of the boat, as you could the way you look at it.
Mm,
Halfway through the movie, they came across a doctor and a crew of people heading the wrong direction, and she was the nurse in that scene.
mm,
They kept saying, "You're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way." So anyway, the spark, as she said, the spark that Jonathan brought to the show was immediate and noticeable. There was no hiding it. Moomy said of Harris, he truly, truly, single-handedly created the character of Dr. Zachary Smith that we know. This man we'd love to hate, a coward who would cower behind the little boy. Oh, the pain. Save me, William. That's all him. Which is another reason why I don't like knocking the new show. But without Jonathan Harris, oh my God, you just don't have Lost in Space.
well, the only other actor that comes to my mind, other than Jonathan Harris, totally basically creating the character of Dr. Smith, is Leonard Nimoy's creation of Mr. Spock. I mean, to me, they're both on the highest level of creativity as far as an actor's can go building a character. I mean, the writers give you a beginning, right, and then you work on it and you build these immensely interesting characters as the shows go on, right? And I just adore both of these guys because
Yep.
top quality actors, top quality thinkers, right? Like brilliant stuff, brilliant.
So here's where we have Professor Robinson and Don testing out the new fuel equation on the ship. And as Will said, are they going to be able to lift? I can't remember exactly what he said, but are they going to be able to fly it? And he said barely higher than the belly of an ant. So right now they're basically just testing with the retro rockets and the thrusters. I know that sounds old fashioned, but that's what the Jupiter 2 uses.
Retro rockets.
This is
Retro
so cool,
rockets.
though. Once again, we have this kind of tech. I don't think we've seen this machine before in any previous episode. So there's a lot of cool little gadgets and techie stuff in here.
Yes. And of course, Dr. Smith, of course, all he's thinking about is back to Earth.
Always.
And here we have something going wrong. And unfortunately, we have an explosion there, and they have to put out the fire, and they're
Yeah.
frustrated. And this is the last, of course, the last thing they needed was for Dr. Smith to speak up and talk about their incompetence. And of course, Don's about ready to kill him at this point.
That's so good.
And here's where Will comes up with the idea about building a smaller spaceship.
Yeah, that's one way you can tell this is fiction, though. They haven't taken Dr. Smith out behind the old shuttle, out behind the old spacecraft yet.
Yeah, that would have happened about 8 episodes ago.
Right about it. Yeah, right. And this episode would have been the point where Professor Robinson would have said, "No, Don, he's mine. He's mine."
I really wish there'd been an
Yeah,
episode where Don had actually, just punched Smith. It
yeah.
would have been
He,
very
he will
satisfying.
That's
literally.
no. That's why. That is why I hated that scene in the 1998 movie where he punched Smith. Oh my god, I hated that.
Wait, they actually punched Smith in the '88 movie?
I
In the
I
new
did
movie,
not
yeah,
see
the
that.
Gary Oldman movie. Oh,
All right,
the
I'll be
very
back in
end. At
about
the
an
very end.
I'll be okay. I'll be back in about an hour and a half. No, but uh, no, but
You'll
yeah,
come
he
back
was.
in an hour and a half and say that, oh, that wasn't worth it.
Yeah,
So you
uh,
didn't think that was a good
you
idea, Pop?
you underestimate my determinedness on this, Pop. But anyhow, he will literally been their whipping boy instead of metaphorically.
Right. And there's a wonderful, fantastic matte painting. That's what I was going to say is, okay, practical. What's practical is the ship, the diving bell, the rocks, and the landscape at the bottom of the screen. But obviously, the balloon and the sky, they couldn't go that high because this is a studio and this is a soundstage. So normally you would have seen a bunch of lights and rafters and uh, you know grips, I guess you could say, or people up above holding the microphones and all that. So basically, the bottom half of the screen is a practical the real on the set, and the whole top is a matte painting of the balloon in the sky. And I think it looks great. I think it blends in well.
I think
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
my favorite part of the episode actually
I
is
didn't know it
seeing
was
this.
Matt.
It's incredible though. I mean, it's such high
That's
quality
excellent.
work.
Where you can't tell, right? Because believe me, as a kid, and I watched this over and over, I never would have thought that either.
Yeah, I thought they just took it out to out to the desert there just play something like that and took filmed it real quick.
It
I don't know
really
why,
does
but
look. It looks fantastic. It really does.
All right,
what reminds me of, I'll make this quick because I know Gorilla has chats. But Irwin Allen produced a movie called 5 Weeks in a Balloon.
Oh, that's a
It's a
great film.
great. It is, and I recommend it. And that's what this scene reminded me of right here was that movie.
Yeah, I love that. Love. I haven't watched that movie in like 30 years. I need to. God, that's such a great, fun movie. Wow.
5 Weeks in a Balloon and Around the World in 80 Days, the original. Sorry, go ahead, Gorilla. Have you got chat?
all right, yep. Scurvy says jokes. I don't make jokes. Don't sweat it. Matt G says yes. I remember in the '80s, in the first half of the '90s, they still had the second market. Yes, my theater has retro nights. Yeah, so does ours.
I
They
know I
was
would actually, if they had a theater around here that showed older movies without the half hour commercials, I would go to the movies and I would do it again. But nope, I'm not gonna pay money to go see a half hour of television commercials. And hello, Jim. Good to see you there. And Jim had a great video. You guys, a new video released on his channel. I'll plug it for you, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
hey Jim. Alrighty, and then Hungry says hola to Jim. Hungry says citrus shakes fist. Oiler says my shuttlecraft tiles are always falling off. Any idea how to fix them?
Glue.
Gum. It lasts forever.
Gum lasts forever, right?
Yeah, and here it is. Then Jim says hail to Hungry. Gap says sending prayers, Pops. Got to go to bed. Good night.
Thank you.
Gap.
Good night. Have a great night. Thank you.
And if you guys are liking the stream, you can always send a tip to Pop Culture. There. Hungry says, remember, in the graduate, plasma, plasma, plasma. Wait, that was plastics?
Plastics.
Yeah. Jim says night gap. Hungry says night gap. Oiler says night gap. Jim says hail lemon. Lemon says hail Jim. Hungry says lemon. Ah yes, the Maya Foyd whatever. I don't know what the hell he's saying.
My fold articulator.
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Yeah, Blim or Limit says by gap. Hunger says plastic plasma indicator. Hunger says Jill's right. Will has a bit more edge in this. Euler says interesting Cold War film from long ago. Night People. Gregory Peck.
Oh, with anything with Gregory Peck, I highly recommend.
Yeah, yeah, and Hunger says so great to see real pyrotechnics, smoke in the episode instead of CGI type or
Tripe, and I
type.
completely
Yeah,
agree. Yes,
totally
practical
agree.
effects, practical effects on screen with the actors standing right next to it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, then Scurvy here says I agree. Hunger CGI is often so fake looking.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not too impressed with most CGI.
The no, though my favorite CGI was the low budget film, The Last Starfighter.
Was
Was that
that
CGI?
CGI? That was the '80s. Are you
Yeah,
sure?
that was a
Yeah,
long time ago.
yeah, it was real cheap film made. I bet you 90% of the film was spent on the CGI.
I don't know. Most of us have seen that. That was with Dan O'Hurley, but I don't know if it was CGI.
Yeah.
That seems kind of early for CGI, actually, Cole.
Well,
Yeah,
they had the
I'm
CGI,
doubtful.
they had the CGI, the phasers and all that. I'm pretty sure the takeoffs and stuff they had to do a little CGI work.
Because didn't
Gotcha.
CGI come in the '90s at some point?
No, it did start in the '80s with Sherlock
70s.
Holmes'
Oh,
younger
did it?
brother.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, you never know. Then it's possible, I guess.
How are we doing on the chat? Are we all cut? Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's where we get a good look at our raft. And now here's where they're planning on Don leaving the next day, and he's plotting his course. And we got the whole family here. Well, you
And of
got
course,
14 hours
Doctor
before
Smith is
liftoff.
Doctor Smith is out doing his Doctor Smith stuff.
Well, I like that line too, where Dr. Smith basically invites himself, and then Don says, "I couldn't think of a more useless payload than having you."
And Don would probably love to jettison that payload once it got into outer
Of
space,
course
right?
he would, right?
Here's my point again, though. It's like you put a lock on the fuel supply, you put a lock on the raft, right? You know, Professor Robinson's puts a time lock or whatever on the door until the minute that Don is scheduled to climb in there and lift off. But no, they don't do that. They just leave the door totally unlocked so Smith can go in there and create mayhem, right?
Yes. And I wanted to bring up a scene. Have we got to the scene yet, Jill, where Judy goes into Don's cabin to say goodbye?
Ooh, spicy.
Yes,
Here you
here it
go.
is. Here, she makes him a tape, but we never get to know what's on the tape.
Well, he asks her, "What is it?" She says, she says the tape, but she doesn't say what it is, and she says, "Only listen to it once." But
It's
I
it's
wanted to, I
it's
wanted to
probably
point it.
love, hot love songs with maybe the occasional sigh in between them.
No, if it were songs, then it wouldn't get monotonous.
Well, that's
I
true.
don't.
Like
I
a,
have
like a
no
mixed
idea.
tape.
I still
But
think that's kind of cute that they got them together in this scene, though.
well, yeah, but I wanted to explain the networks were all over this. The censors,
Really?
right? Judy comes into Don
Didn't even
quote
kiss. How could the
from
censors be on this?
exactly right. That's another thing.
But they're sitting on the same bed, right?
Scene 63. June comes into Don's cabin. Judy comes into Don's cabin. He was supposed to be trying to sleep for 14 hours. Wouldn't he be undressed? They ask. Pajamas? Censors. Judy says, "Your light was on. You can't see a light from outside."
Oh boy.
So basically, what happened was they weren't allowed to even touch hands. They weren't allowed to kiss. That's why she says, "I got one thing for you." And she even says, "I've got something for you." And he says, "What?" Right there, you would think it would be a kiss, but no, she hands him a tape.
Boy, I
So there
bet
was no
this.
interaction, no physical interaction whatsoever. And both of them were fully dressed because the
When she
censors
said,
would
"I've
not
got
allow it.
something for you," boy, I bet the network censors went nuts
Right, which
reading that
exactly
line.
which right. That's exactly what right.
Oh God,
And they
that's
wanted to make
funny.
sure he was fully clothed, no pajamas, no nothing.
Yeah, I always sleep with my my day to day pants on, right?
Right, and notice that she's not in a negligee. She's like it's almost a suit. I mean, obviously, I think it's supposed to be her pajamas, but it's almost a suit. So they
Mm.
made sure that both of them are fully clothed and that it's very clear.
I'm
No
actually amazed
interactions.
I'm amazed, Pop, that they even let them sit on the same bed side by side. Like,
Well,
I
it's okay
remember
as
this.
long. Remember the censors. It's okay as long as their feet are on the floor.
Oh, right. Good point. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Thank you, Jill. And then
You're
now
welcome.
we cut to the excellent. By the way, this is a second matte painting, so they had to make two different paintings.
Right, one for the nighttime.
Yes, and Irwin Allen had a note about this here. Why was a robot programmed by Robinson to cast off the raft?
Yeah.
He would
Wait a
have
sec,
done this himself.
I'm hearing background noise like a TV or something.
No TV on here. I haven't put my
Not
TV
here.
on in like a year.
Right. Nothing here.
I'm not
So
hearing it here, Gorilla. I don't know.
you still hear it, Gorilla?
Nope, not anymore.
All right. Scene 62. Why was a robot programmed by Robinson to cast off the raft? He would have done this himself. Wouldn't Smith have already recharted the raft to go to Earth instead of Alpha Centauri? If so, in scene 62, he can now be programming the robot to cast him off. Take the robot out of scene 81, or the family would learn what happened from it. So that's some of the notes that it's interesting how Irwin Allen pays attention and he notices when there's plot holes and when things don't make sense. So basically, we're assuming that Dr. Smith programmed the robot for takeoff. Or I guess Professor Robinson did. Well, okay. Let me go back. If Robinson
Okay,
would
so
have
I
programmed...
found out what it was.
Go ahead.
I always make sure the kids' TVs are low enough. It's my daughter's dancing toy that she dances on. It's like a Dance Revolution kind of toy.
That's quite all right.
I was just hearing something. I just didn't want the bot singers are more sensitive than mine. If I could hear it, the bots can hear it.
Oh yeah, that's true. You don't want any music playing in the background on
Right.
YouTube, do you? Yeah, for sure.
So I think what Irwin Allen was pointing out was, okay, did Robinson program Professor Robinson, that is, program the robot to launch the raft? And so that's why the robot's standing there, waiting with the rope. But if that's the case, then wouldn't Robinson have programmed the robot to only lift off if he was given the order and he was in the raft or Don was in the raft? So that's why I guess it's kind of a hole in the plot.
That would make sense.
It does.
That's another Peter Parker moment, right? Because Peter Parker often he has these moments, or Peter Parker. I mean, not Peter Parker. Jesus,
Here we go, Spider-Man again.
But he could have explained it away so easily if he just put one little line showing that Dr. Smith reprogrammed it again for him.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Peter Parker, why he's not my favorite Lost in Space, writer is. There's these little inconsistencies that do show up in a lot of his episodes, even though, it's like, I think this is a decent episode, but
he's a better Peter Parker than normal.
Yeah, but there are these little flaws that show up, and it's just like they just kind of annoy me because I'm kind of one of these people when I pick up on something, it's like really, you couldn't have just ironed this out a little bit with an extra line of dialogue or something, but. I'm just being picky, I guess.
Right, but the good news is we know, or at least now from reading this book, is they were thinking about that behind the scenes too. So they knew that we weren't completely stupid.
I'm glad to hear that. That's really cool, actually.
And it's funny because when Dr. Smith sticks his head out of the belly, goes, "Now don't say anything," which means that's the alarm right there. Don't call out, my boy. That's the alarm there to immediately shout out, "Mom, Dad."
Well, Smith has been up to something.
Kind of creepy to say that.
Yeah, these days it can be taken for many things, right?
You'd never get that line in the show now, would you?
Well, at least it's not followed by "come inside," right?
Oh God! But doesn't Will actually come inside?
Yes, he eventually
All right.
does.
Hey, can we catch up on chat real quick?
Yes, thank you, Gorilla.
Sure.
All right. He says these matte paintings were done on fabric with real brushes and paint. Beautifully blended, fluffy cows.
Oh, very interesting. Thank you,
Yeah,
Hungry Boy.
right on, Citrus. Euler Greg says, I can forgive the Gordon costumes because it's practical and honest, especially for its time.
The matte painting is gorgeous. The balloon really pops.
Here,
Yes.
Jill, can you cover this one here for a second?
Euler Greg says, I left my play Meticulator at the beach house.
Wow, Jill knows English and math. I envy her.
That's very good articulation on Jill's part, I must say.
Thanks.
Yes.
Sean Carter says, Last Starfighter did have rudimentary CG. It was a lot like Tron, basic shapes, etc.
Okay, that makes sense.
I remember Tron. Yeah, okay. I get it now. Yeah.
Euler Greg
Uh,
says, too hot for TV.
yeah, I think we're talking about the Don and Judy scene.
I trust her already. Nothing here. And A Hungry for Kinder Days says, LMAO, dancing toy. That's precious. Bab.
Uh, oh, Euler says, "LOL, music the toy." The robot's programming was problematic at best.
Yes.
Good information, Pop. And
Thank
Bazil
you,
says,
Oleg Greg.
interesting note about the balloon. It didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know about it either until I read about it. When I was a kid, I just like you just go with it, right? It looks realistic, and you're thinking, "Oh wow, it looks like they actually filmed it outside."
I actually thought it was even looked realistic when I watched it last night. I was like, I should have known better, right? But it is so well done.
Now the inside here, the notes, scene 74, 108, rewrite interior raft action to conform to the diving bell. No walking around. So apparently they wrote it originally where they would be walking around and kind of milking the scene, but when they saw how small the bell was, they rewrote it to where they're just sitting during the entire dialogue scene.
Not a lot of room to walk around in there, really.
Now, did they mention it here or is it after they land? Because it's there's a oh never mind. It says scene 111, and if this is scene 108, it must be right after in a few scenes, and I'll mention it when we get there. So here's where we get the old line. I said lunch, not launch. So pretty much, the robot heard the wrong thing and hit the launch button, and there goes the raft.
You know,
Oh,
I just gotta say, is it not a bit weird that we have like an 18th century balloon lifting off a space capsule?
But it makes
yeah.
sense. It totally makes sense. Gorilla was even telling me. Now, Gorilla, tell us the story you told us
I
about
just
those
think it
people that
looks
escaped.
it
Well,
looks
it's like a
so
weather balloon.
it looks so
Yes.
incongruous
Hey,
somehow though, which I kind of love. That's one of the things I actually gave this episode a higher rating because of scenes like this. Because I don't know if you guys have mentioned, I've mentioned steampunk maybe once or twice earlier, and I think this episode, technology wise, is very, very steampunk, which I think is very cool because steampunk is a very cool kind of subgenre, right? So that's probably why I rated this episode as highly as I did, to be honest.
And I will mention that there was an episode of Gilligan's Island, which Gorilla will remember, where they took all their rubber raincoats and jackets, glued them together, and used hot air to create a balloon to get them off the island.
I
yeah.
do remember that one. That was a good one.
Hey, which story did you want me to tell?
That you said that when we watched that episode of Gilligan's Island where they put the rubber coats together, that there was a real family that did that once to escape
Oh,
Nazi Germany.
no, 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 no.
Or
Yeah, these guys they didn't mind Nazi Germany. That they had no problem with. It's the damn Soviets they had a problem with. See,
That was it.
They got fed when they were with Germany, but once the Soviets took over, they got hungry. So they actually took all their spare clothes and sewed them together, and somehow, without being shot down in the middle of the night, I think it was a family. I think there was like 20 of them
Yes,
that
it was a family.
yeah, it's big old. Oh, maybe it's 20 of them that helped put it together, but like 4 or 5 different people escaped over the Iron Curtain with a homemade balloon.
So you're
Yep.
talking about like Berlin going from east to west over the Berlin
Yeah, I'm
Wall?
thinking he means the
Yes.
Berlin Wall. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And that's
so
very cool.
it is very cool. So it harkens back to that, and the fact that we know that somebody actually did do that in
It
history.
just shows you, when people are determined to, be free and have a better life, and they work hard, and they have ingenuity. Oh God, I can't pronounce words, but you know what I mean. That's very cool.
Right. So here's where Will and Dr. Smith launch off into space on their intrepid journey to the unknown, which they're hoping will be on the way back to Earth. And of course, Dr. Smith is so dramatic. We may be at the mercy of space. And here's where the next day, and they realize that the bell took off. Sorry, the Raft took off without Dawn, and they realize that aboard was Dr. Smith and Will. And they're saying, "Well, are they going to make it?" He said, "Well, they already had it pre-programmed, so I guess it's kind of like the automatic pilot. It should make it." And at this point, they probably trust Will more than Dr. Smith, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
I'd
I
say,
wonder why they don't consult the robot to ask him how everything happened and what went down.
Yeah, exactly like in the notes. Yeah, you think they'd
yeah,
go to the robot and say what happened.
you think the robot would have like, tapes, recording tapes, like memory wise, right? To do that, yeah.
Yep. And this is where they hit the retro rockets, I guess they call them, or thrusters. And this is where the bell is attempting to, sorry, Raft. I need to stop calling it a diving bell.
And of
But they
course,
need,
Smith is napping again here, of course.
that was actually in the script because they wrote it in the script where they would be asleep because, oh, I need to find it. It was when I was reading it the other day. But Irwin Allen said, now, because this is what we all thought. Irwin Allen says, well, come on, don't they realize that they're on the same planet? That they haven't been gone long enough to be at another planet. So that's why they wrote in the script that they fell asleep and they don't know how long they were asleep. So that was what was left of that. So that's the reason why you see Dr. Smith nodding off like that.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Actually, that's really good. Because I did wonder how, such a short time period, they would think they're on a, far away planet somewhere else. Like,
Right.
that wouldn't make
Right.
sense, right?
Page 33, scene 83. It would seem that this is the first night after taking off, and it seems a little strange that Smith and Will would be fooled into thinking that the planet they see could be Earth. Will should bring up this point, and Smith could find some explanation to give him, possibly the fact that they have no way of knowing how long they've been traveling or sleeping or how fast the ship is going.
Well, it's such a tiny
So
ship. I can't see it going like huge distances in a short time, personally.
definitely it can be going that fast. And only Will is really cognizant of it.
Yeah, it's only got like that one little rocket on the bottom, right? When they lift it off. So,
That was funny where he
yeah.
said some commander.
I
As
like
a
how Will
commander, my
does kind of,
concern, right? Some
he,
commander, you don't know a gyros go from a flux gate.
yeah,
Yeah,
Will really talks down to him here. It's like, hey, I'm no more than you do, Doctor Smith.
yeah, that's some of
Right.
the attitude
It's good though.
that I was talking
That's
about.
another
It's
part I really love.
fantastic.
Yeah, it was fun.
And of course, he says he would be with his folks. I appoint
And
you
it's
first officer. Take over, Mr. Robinson. What else is he gonna do, right, Mr. Incompetence?
save me, little kid.
Right.
That's a good one. This is very cool effects, though. I gotta say, I really enjoyed the effects in this episode.
Me too.
And here's where where it lands.
And once again, I think this ship looks very cyberpunk. It looks very wonky and weird, and it doesn't look like a lot of sci-fi. And if you look up cyberpunk, I think you might kind of get what I'm talking about.
So I missed the moment when it happened earlier, but at one point the robot made a joke and showing signs of personality, and it called Dr. Smith a windbag.
Oh, that's right. The reference to the wind. That's right.
The robot does take on more of a personality as the series goes by, and he does definitely have I think, quite a dry sense of humor. But the robot can be quite hilarious, actually.
It's gradual, right? It's not all immediate, but it's gradual.
Yeah, it's just like the way they transform Smith and Will's relationship, right? It takes a little time, but it does eventually get there. So, yeah.
One thing that Lost in Space always remembers is to check the atmosphere. So I do appreciate that.
Yes, I
That is
agree.
definitely good. Yes.
Oxygen, nitrogen, that's always a good thing, right?
Another thing that I couldn't quite get my head around was when they're flying up to the planet here, like half a dozen or whatever stills earlier that Jill had, and Smith's going, "Oh, it's Earth. It looks just like Earth," and I'm thinking, it doesn't look anything like Earth,
Or
right?
maybe Death Valley
He's
or something.
delusional. It's kind of
No,
like
but
Right.
seeing it's kind of
But
like seeing a mirage.
yeah, but
Yes.
he's saying like he can see continents or something. He can
There's
see
a
North
crisis going
America,
on. I'll be right back.
and it's like there's no North America even showing on the damn planet when they're flying up to it, right? So
Right. He looks at the planet and he said there's the North American continent, which obviously there isn't.
yeah, I mean it's just like some bland dust ball, right? There's no
I
real
think it's like
defined
Jill said
continent.
I think it's like Jill said he's so excited and is so eager to get back to Earth that he'll see Earth in anything pretty much.
Yeah, I think Smith was like self delusional at that point, I guess, kind of. He's just seeing what he wants to see, basically.
Yes. And here's where we get our reveal of the what's it, the bog monster? What's it called here? I mentioned it earlier. This
That's
is
what I like about
Dawson
season one, though.
Palmer.
It has I think season one monsters are the best of the whole series, really.
It does tend to get a little cheaper. The bush monsters. That's it. This is our first appearance of the bush monster here, which is that's telling all of us at the audience that I don't think they're on Earth.
Well, I mean, Smith has to be nuts to think this is Earth, right? I mean, it's like this doesn't look anything like Earth, you know,
No. And in fact, coincidentally, it happens to look just like on the planet they just thought they left from.
because it is the same planet. They landed on.
Right.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And
Uh,
Gorilla, how are we doing on the chats?
I was just about to ask on that.
Thank you.
Here we go. Chat time.
Right here is Hungry Boys channel. Herc says the best CGI is the one you don't notice. The opening scenes from Contact and Ford versus Ferrari, you don't even notice they were there.
Oh, Ford versus Ferrari was a great film. I really enjoyed that one.
And Jim says I just got 2 more videos done. Ready to launch one in July and another one in August. So cool.
Right.
Euler says interesting thoughts PvP.
Oh, geez.
Here is
Thank you. I have no idea what thoughts were interesting, but thank you anyway.
Yeah, and here's Jill's channel. And other Greg says Cold War story. Nice tidbit, Gorilla. Sometimes Dr. Smith is right. Euler says my flux gate is stuck open. You might want to see a doctor about that.
That sounds painful, actually.
Yeah. Take Brazil says Oil and Greg, no. Says it looks like Brazil's lair, probably. Euler says cheers. There's Sean Carter's channel. Bazil says, Adler Greg, yes, it could be. You never know. I keep it secret. I don't want the evil Russians to find it. Vote Bush Monster in 24. I have no idea what the hell that's supposed to mean. Bazil says, done deal,
Oh,
Euler Greg.
this monster right here is the bush monster.
Oh.
That's on screen.
Well, I gotta say, looking at the monster there, at least you know the carpet matches the drapes. Just saying.
Yeah, true.
All
Yeah,
right,
it kind of looks like everything matches everything, actually.
We're all caught up.
Will knows that they haven't been gone long enough to find anything, so I think Will knows that they're on the same planet. But he doesn't want to contradict Dr. Smith because even though he's a brilliant kid, I think he tries to look up to the adults for guidance. Even Dr. Smith, who has failed him so
I
much.
think, the Will
Yes,
Smith
that's a good way of
relationship.
putting it. Thank you, Jill.
I think the Will Smith
You're welcome.
relationship, actually, Jill, is kind of like, a kid that kind of looks up to their weird uncle, even in spite of his flaws. They kind of find him fascinating in some strange way, if that makes any sense.
Definitely, it makes a ton of sense.
Oh, thank you, Jill.
You're welcome. But since Will knows, he turned on. That's why he turns on the transmission, so his family can find him.
Well, damn good thing he did that. Otherwise, this episode could have ended very badly.
But what's good about it though is they do pick up the signal, but it takes them a while to triangulate the location.
Yes.
And I have a line. I have a note. Scene 111. There's a scene right here where Jonathan Harris offers to give Will a piggyback ride. This is where Jonathan Harris is basically trying to stand in for the father, trying to win Will's affection. And it says scene 111, delete piggyback business. Jonathan Harris's bad back. The piggyback ride was stricken, but the line of dialogue when Smith offers one to Will was retained. The writer Wilson merely wrote a line for Will, declining the invitation, thusly sparing Harris's delicate back.
Thank goodness. Yeah, I guess he basically wore what, like a back brace through the whole series because of his bad back?
Yeah,
Yes.
I like that Will says that all adults will be naturally nurturing to a child instead of, it was nice.
Oh,
Yes,
Instead
I
of
yeah,
agree.
that
saying
would be
women are
nice.
nurturing.
This is the thing. Actually, you had a few slides back there, Jill. When they're right in front of this creature, and it's like Smith doesn't seem to clue in that he's still thinking this is Earth. Like,
Well, he hasn't seen the creature yet. I don't think, has he?
no, but a couple go back a few there, Jill. There wasn't there one they were standing right in front of the bloody creature? Because I know they walk. Yeah, right
There it
there.
is.
And
Oh,
Smith
that's
was
right.
like,
No, he said it's skunk cabbage.
but there's no skunk cabbage on this planet that
No,
looks like that.
not it stands over 6 feet tall. But I guess he's so eager for it to be Earth, right? His mind is just making up
Seriously
for all
though,
the blanks.
Smith must have maybe eaten some magic mushrooms or something before he climbed in that capsule the day before, because there's no way they're on Earth. I found that hilarious, actually, though. Actually, that kind of probably boosted the episode for me a little more because it was so ridiculous, right?
When Dr. Smith tries to write it off as space sickness, and Will Smith, I don't think it's space sickness, Dr. Smith.
More like space madness.
Right. Homesickness. I think he's a little over homesickness.
Smith was like the biggest homesick baby in the universe.
And Will even tells him, "I don't think this is taking us anywhere."
Nope.
And they come into a clearing. And this, what I thought was interesting, is this actually filmed exterior on location. This was not a set.
I didn't capture the animation for this. I should have, but I could have caught it so that you could see the vine door close on them.
Right, closing in behind them. Right, they walk into this little clearing, and the vines close in behind them.
Oh,
And that's when they turn around and they realize that they're trapped. There, you got it. You got kind of got it there.
a little bit,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
good enough. That works.
Yeah. I liked how they used grapevines for it, though.
And they called them berries that taste like cranberries.
Tastes like cranberries, and obviously grapes, green grapes, I would guess,
No, at
Yeah,
least
they were
Will was
green
eating
grapes.
something. Yeah.
which sound delicious. I love green grapes,
Meanwhile,
green
back of
apes
the
and green
tuber too.
apples. Right, I'm sure someone's receiving us. So that now they're talking about the signal that they're getting from the raft,
There
and
you
they're
go.
trying to figure out its position. And now it's where Will says he's been trying to cut through that stuff, but it's like Durasteel. His knife just won't seem to cut through it.
And
Hey,
now
another
it's
great.
stock footage time.
Yeah,
Back to
great,
stock
great more
footage.
jetpack footage. That's another thing that boosts this episode a little bit for me.
Right, and you'll notice that Don's jacket does change color from light gray to dark black when he shows the exterior shots. But what I really liked was just before this. What was funny is when Will said that these vines are like Durasteel, and his knife was dull, and Doctor Smith told him that maybe you should dig under them, and then he told Doctor Smith to dig. It's an
Oh,
hilarious scene because Doctor Smith, you can see, is not happy to do it, but he does it, and he keeps looking back at Will. He looks back at Will and then dig. Look back at Will and then dig. So
well, you know
without
what?
saying anything, I thought it was very funny.
My favorite part of that whole sequence is like you've got a pocket knife that's like 4 inches long, and you're going to dig this huge hole in the ground in
Right.
like I don't know 20 minutes.
Exactly.
You'd be digging that for like days to get a hole that big, right? With that little
All
tiny
right.
knife. So I was actually laughing my butt off at that one. And once again, that actually boosted the ratings of the episode because it was fun.
Yep. So here we have Don searching for Dr. Smith and Will, and we also have, and if you guys are wondering, it does say in the book that when it shows John and Marine in the chariot, that's not stock footage from a previous episode. So they did shoot those scenes new where they're in there looking for Will, even though it looks like you would think that's the same scene from an earlier episode, but it's not.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
And here's what they're talking about trying to triangulate the signal. They're picking it up, but they're trying to figure out exactly how they can narrow it down. So they're coming up with different ideas about that. And how about the space theodolite?
So,
Theodolite?
theodolite, it Lost in Space taught me this word today. It's a basic surveying instrument of unknown origin made by mathematician Leonard Diggs. It's used to measure horizontal and vertical angles. In its modern form, it consists of a telescope mounted to swivel both horizontally and vertically. Leveling is
Wow.
accomplished with the aid of a spirit level. Crosshairs in the telescope permit accurate alignment with the object sighted. After the telescope is adjusted precisely, the two accompanying scales, vertical and horizontal, are read. So,
Wow, that's
surveying
very
equipment.
That's
cool.
fantastic. I didn't actually realize that was a real thing. Like, okay, I just gained some big respect for Peter Packer because, like, man, he did some research writing that, right? So that's cool. Nice.
Right. Every now and then there is a spark of ingenuity and actual intelligence in this show, even though it's a lot of it is was space fantasy and it's not Star Trek.
No, it's not Star Trek, but it's still fun, right?
But it helps your vocabulary
That's
sometimes.
very cool, though. I never realized. Damn, Peter, he was doing some homework there.
And so here's where they realize they guess they were right because it looks like the plants are doing much better now that Will's been trimming them. And here's where we see the lush grapes.
I just wonder though
Yeah, they grew
the
fast.
I just wonder if the plant creature wants to keep them slaves to tend his garden, its garden, whatever it is.
Well,
Uh,
well, yeah,
if
that's a
they're
good question. I thought
well,
that too.
if they're only living on like cranberry berries or whatever the heck Will was eating a little while ago, like, aren't they going to get really sick and ill after a while just surviving on that? They'll probably both die after a couple of months, right?
Well, Will says, well, think about it. You're getting nourishment and you're getting liquid, but I think that minimum you might be getting diarrhea too. If that's all you're eating,
Oh
right?
yeah. I wouldn't want to be living on berries for too many days.
Yeah, it sounds yummy at first,
Yeah, it sounds gross after a while.
but they do talk. They do talk about it. Will says, "I wonder how long," and Doctor Smith says, "It's probably plan on keeping us here forever."
Yeah, I do like a little bit of protein and roughage once in a while too, personally. Got to keep the old, system full, right?
Right, and here we have the family, and I'm glad all characters are here, so they're all getting screen time. And I know
Nice.
Judy and Penny aren't getting many lines, but at least they're here to get some screen time for this, so that's good. Because they're paid regardless of how much screen time they get; they still get the same paycheck. And Doctor Smith sticks his arm through the wall, and unfortunately, for some reason, he can't pull it back, even though they show the other side, and we can't figure out. Well, I don't know what's holding his arm.
And why
Um,
he
And
would even stick his arm through the damn wall is beyond
well,
me, to be quite honest.
he was getting frustrated because that's when they were realizing they may get stuck there forever.
Yeah, well,
hey,
I wouldn't stick my arm through some weird, thing like I didn't know what was on the other side. There's no way I would do that.
Go
hey,
ahead,
But
Gorilla.
PvP,
but
there's an old
luckily, he finds the radio.
yeah, PvP. There's an old saying: "Curiosity killed the cat."
Yeah,
That's
I've
right.
heard that one before. But just think,
Right.
there could be like a land shark or something on the other side. Smith could have had his like arm just totally bitten off there, right? So
Now at
Well,
this
like you
point,
gotta look on.
they don't know that the skunk cabbage is on the other side, right?
skunk cabbage. That's
They don't
hilarious.
really, they don't ever really know the creature's motivations either.
Well,
And
they
it's
wants them
probably
to tend the garden. Apparently, I guess that's all we
Yeah,
know, right?
right. That's all
yeah.
we know.
The creature just
You
wants
know,
to
we
make
don't
them.
even know if it's dangerous because all it really does is just approach them. It growls a little bit.
It's not like last episode where the creature was kind of scary, right? This one just seems kind of mundane, and it's like it just wants a couple of
There it is.
basically it wants a couple of gardeners to tend its crops. It seems.
Right, and
Yeah,
here's the
it's just
scene.
Smith overreacting.
Of course. And this
Wow.
is the scene I was mentioning. This is the first scene, everybody listening, where we see Dr. Smith clutching Will to the front of him as a human shield, which we will see
Smith.
many times
And
coming up in the future.
yeah, and what you're saying is something that crossed my mind while watching it. We don't really know if the creature would have meant any harm on them or what its ideas were or what it wanted besides grapes.
The thing is, though, the creature wanted to basically imprison them in its garden, right? So that would have not.
Possibly that's a presumption. We
But
didn't
it
really get
seems
to
like,
talk to it.
Well,
well,
you're right. The question is,
it
Jill. Let's say if
seemed
you
like
were
that was the case,
Jill, if
though.
you were in their shoes, Jill, how close would you let it approach you? Would you get
And yes,
panicked?
that's true. And this is the parental instinct, which is why why the creature's killed. So that makes
Well,
sense.
it wasn't like the creature tried to communicate with him in any meaningful way, even if I don't know if it even could. But it's like they didn't really seem to have any choice of leaving the garden, if they wanted to. So I kind of think the creature was a little bit malevolent in that sense. That's my
Right. I
my
guess they
personal
didn't
view,
have
anyway.
time. They didn't have time to try to establish a way of communicating with the creature. I guess.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, yeah. It was pretty short
Look
time.
at that look. I love that look on Doctor Smith's face when he says, "I kept telling Doctor Smith we couldn't be on Earth." Doctor Smith doesn't like being told on. And here's where they realized, and the Professor Robinson saying that they didn't have enough. There's no way that ship had enough power to even exit the atmosphere.
Yeah,
And you can see
here.
by the look on Don's faces, Don hadn't realized it either until
Yeah.
this point.
Hey, Bazil, night, Bazil.
Good night, Basil. Thank you for
Good
coming
night to
by.
Basil.
Night,
I hope,
Basil.
I hope you had a good time, Basil. Thank you for
Well,
being here.
here's a
How
good
did
time. We got like
Gorilla?
five chat.
Gorilla? How did you get down at the bottom? Here we go.
I put myself on the bottom, so I was the one covered up.
Hey, sometimes being the bottom is okay, you know.
Yeah. Uh,
Well,
here,
Gorilla's my co-host, so I
yeah.
definitely gonna give him full credit.
All right. Hungry.
Bottom, top, it's all good.
Hungry says, I like poor old doublehead. Such a creative idea. And I like fake kelp as fur and hide. Plus a globe eye for face. So surrealist. I surely hoped that is sarcasm coming from you, Hungry. I surely hope. Because I see it may have been unique for the time, but it's not unique no more. And Oil says Chinese Dura steel is cheap. It breaks easy.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, nope. I'm gonna bite my tongue. Biting my tongue. Bite my tongue. Bite my tongue. Not the topic. We'll get off topic onto a rant. Other Greg says Rambo knife can dig a hole in rock quickly and easily. USA, USA.
I'm thinking
Oh,
the
I need to
Rambo
get one of
knife is a little
those.
longer than like 4 inches, though, right?
Yeah, wasn't it like one of those big old hunting knife kind of thing if Rambo used it?
Yeah, you need like a big knife if you're going to dig those kind of holes.
Honestly, what Will had looked like a Swiss Army knife.
Oh, I think it was, and it's like what, about 4 inches long maximum kind
It
of thing. Like,
is. I remember once. Okay, I witnessed an accident. I was driving and I saw a head-on collision right in front of me, and
oh,
I pulled
oh
over.
shit,
And in one of the cars, they were trapped. They were trying to get out. They couldn't
oh,
get the seatbelts unlocked. I had a Swiss Army
oh,
knife in the glove compartment of my truck. So I went and grabbed my Swiss Army knife, handed it to them, and they cut the seatbelts of their car and got out and freed themselves.
great.
Cops came along and said, "How'd they cut these seatbelts?" And I said, "Well, I gave them my knife." "What knife? What knife? What are you talking? What knife?" The cops were about ready to arrest me just because I had a knife.
For
And I
say,
said, "I said it's
like,
just a Swiss Army knife." I said that. I go, "Just a Swiss Army knife. Could be. Let's see it. Let's see it." So I had to go to my truck and pull it out. And I said, "Here." And then they held it across. They said, "Hold out your hand." And I did. And they held it across the palm of my hand. Because if it's longer than the width of your hand, you'll get in trouble.
I
Apparently,
think
but
it's like around.
fortunately, it wasn't.
I think
Hey,
it's
Well, you
like
can't
around.
have knives.
hey,
I think it.
Yeah, it was just a Swiss Army knife. It had all the tools and everything on it.
I think the guide is around 6 inches long. If it's longer than that, it's considered
In
a weapon, I
California,
guess.
in California, it's the width of your hand,
I
and I'm
caught.
guessing so you can't conceal it. Is all I could think.
Hey,
Maybe
Well, the
I
thing is, a Swiss Army knife is such an innocuous.
you would think, right?
I
You
don't
would.
even really
I
consider
know.
that a weapon. Really, it's more of a
I
tool, right?
know. That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
hey,
But
Hey,
he was
and besides,
I call
they didn't thank
discrimination.
you for saving those people. Like the car could have burst into
no,
flames at any minute, right?
Yeah.
no,
Hey, I
yeah,
call
no.
discrimination because I know so I know a couple midgets there that have really small hands. What? I'm serious. I am serious.
That's
I
a
don't
good
go.
one.
I'm being 100% serious on that.
So, so
I
midgets
think
are
I
getting
made.
a bad
I think
deal then.
I
I
guess
made pop. I think I made
they
pop
need.
laugh hard.
I guess they need those really tiny ones. What they call a pen knife or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
they need those like little 2 inch army knives then. That's too funny, Gorilla. That's a great one, man.
Beware
I'm just
midget
being
carrying
honest.
knives.
I'm just being honest here. We got a few chats here.
Yeah, those
Thank you,
killer
Gorilla.
midgets will get you every time, man.
Yeah, Oiler Greg says, nice information, Jill.
Thank you.
Basil says, well, I hate to say it, but I have to leave. Sorry, Pop. This is a great
Aw.
stream. I had to blast. Take care of
I love
yourself.
Basil.
Yeah. Creature was possibly peaceful is correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
he just wanted a hug. He didn't want to rip their heads off and eat them. He just wanted a hug.
Right, and he wanted someone to take care of his grapes. Oh, by the way, I'm happy because my roommate's home. He's coughing, and I was able to talk to him, let him know I'm going to the hospital, and they're going to watch my dogs. So I'm happy for that.
Oh,
Okay.
that's great. And maybe they could have recruited Debbie to take care of the grapes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Whatever happened to Debbie? Hopefully they haven't eaten her yet.
Oh, automatic F, automatic F. They lost my cousin.
turn Debbie into a slave and train her how to take care of the grapes.
Yeah. And Oiler says, night, Basil. Says 90 Basil. Here is a link to Jim's channel. Euler says you can carry a sword in Texas. That's because, or a shotgun. Heck, I bet you can carry a 50 cal Texas as long as you can
I
carry
know,
it.
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking when you were saying you can't even barely have a pocket knife, I was thinking I could open carry 2 swords on both hips just wherever I want to go.
But now that you got all the California people moving out there, you just watch. That won't last for long. Like I said, that mentality, like I'm in California, the mentality of a knife, them going crazy over a Swiss Army knife, that's Texas. You'll see. Not Texas yet, but it will be. Sad to say.
I hope not.
I know. I hope not too. In fact, I just heard on the news today, Sacramento. I don't know if you guys heard Sacramento's mad because it's it Texas or Florida. They sent a bus full of immigrants to Sacramento, what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, honestly, why is our governor upset? Because they're the ones that want all this, right? So why are they mad when people ship immigrants here? I don't understand it. That's why we have sanctuary cities. So I don't know. I'm confused. So here's where we have uh, our intrepid men here with the robot going on a mission, and Professor
And the robot
Robinson.
says the thing.
The famous line, and I love this too. The professor tells Will to turn on the robot so they can get an environmental report. And the first thing we hear from the robot is danger, danger, danger. And apparently they're in the midst of a meteor shower.
This is another great sequence. Actually, the special effects here are fantastic too.
Yep, all practical. I love it.
Yeah, it looks so real. It's awesomely cool. Another great
Yes,
cliffhanger.
another great cliffhanger. I miss cliffhangers. My goodness. If shows had them these days, it'd be so much more interesting.
I just
They
miss
would
good
make me,
television.
yeah,
Personally.
good television, and good cliffhangers. And that'd make me want to watch.
True cliffhanger too, where you get a complete story from beginning to end, but you get something to tease you for the next one. That they kind of now instead we get just one story broken up into 10 episodes.
Yes,
Oh, I
exactly.
know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I don't even want to think about that.
Oh, we got our wonderful cast.
Ugh.
By the way, I want to once again thank you, Jill, for the slides tonight. Great job.
You're welcome.
Yeah, awesome slides as
My
always, Jill.
pleasure. It makes the
Oh, it
stream
was
more
so
fun for
fun.
me too.
Hey, your
And
slides
I'm going to
rock.
tell you guys, I'm going to miss these streams. I'll try to get out of the hospital as soon as possible. I will be, I'll be trying to come on and I will talk to people, but I'm going to miss doing the streams. I'm heartbroken that I can't do the horror stream tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well,
It's a
It's fun.
bummer.
It's the
Oh,
highlight
you
of,
had a movie. You had a movie ready to go too.
yeah, we're going to do a movie tomorrow. And by the way, and we're going to miss Gilligan's Island for like the third week in a row. That's another thing. I feel like I'm letting those people down.
Oh, those poor people.
you're not
Yep.
letting us down, Pop. You gotta just do what you gotta do. We understand.
Hmm.
We're
Screw
not just
you. I'm talking about the castaways. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, that's what I was doing too. I was playing Galaxy Quest.
no,
Just
seriously though.
kidding. Right.
If you miss a week or two, like if you do the horror stream next week, if you're hopefully feeling good enough by then and you're out of hospital, that's totally fine. Like
Well, I thought it
don't sweat it,
interesting.
man.
I thought it interesting that the doctor, she basically had the results from the hospital. And I said,
Okay.
okay, what exactly are they going to do? And all she kept saying is, well, there's a lot of work they want to do. So I don't know exactly what they have planned for me.
They can't even tell you what's going on.
Yeah, no detail. Well, okay. They did a lung biopsy last week and a half, whenever I was there. Non-conclusive. She said they need to do another lung biopsy. The only thing they know is they pulled out some kind of, she used the word, was it necropsy? But anyway, it was dead tissue.
Dead tissue. Okay. Well, stay hopeful. I mean,
Yeah.
non-conclusive could be good, right? That could mean maybe
Yeah,
it's not
right.
malignant, right?
right, dead tissue inside your body. That's always something to celebrate.
No, but seriously,
Just kidding.
I understand that you're feeling bad, Pop, but try and be positive because maybe it's not quite as bad as you're thinking it is. Like
No,
inconclusive
I am. No,
could
the
go
only thing
either way, right?
I am positive that maybe there's something they can do. To my outlook and my hope is they can stop the seizures. That's my main thing. Because, like I said, every time I have a seizure, I lose more of my left. Right now, thank goodness, it's only my left arm. But that's my main hope. So I do still have hope. Believe me.
Well, I
If I
am
gave up hope,
hoping.
I probably wouldn't go back to the hospital.
I'm hoping maybe the doctors can prescribe a different medication that might be more effective, if you know what I mean. Because, some there are different kinds of medications to treat different symptoms. So maybe the one you're currently on isn't working.
Well, here's what's
Maybe they can find something better. Is all I'm thinking, right?
what was interesting is when I was in the hospital last time, and they knew that I was in there for seizures. They were giving me which the same under the same name, the same anti seizure medicine, but except it was intravenous. And while I was getting that, I never had any
Oh,
seizures. But when they gave me the pill form, I'm having seizures. So I'm thinking they may need to increase the dosage.
I think your
So
dosage is too low.
right. So in the meantime, I'm going to keep
That's what
doubling
I
up
mean.
and don't tell
Obviously I'm
anybody.
not a doctor, but I'm thinking if you were good when you were on intravenous, and then since you've gone on the pills, you're having the problems again. I'm thinking you probably need a stronger dose.
Me too.
Yeah,
And I know she said
and
don't double up on it, but I don't care. I'm going to double up on it anyway. There's nothing to lose.
make sure you tell them that you're thinking you need a stronger dose. Just make sure you tell them that to their face. I'm still having seizures. I think I need to increase my dosage.
Huh, right. Give me more drugs, doctor.
Well, yeah. I mean, if they're decent doctors, they will increase your dosage. Up. As long as it's within the range of a safe level, they will increase your dosage. I've been there too. So
Well, I'll just tell them. I'll say whatever you were giving me intravenous, just give me the same thing again. But the pills
because
weren't
yeah,
working.
if it ain't working, it ain't working, and you got to let them know, right? So
Right.
that's
So
that's my thought.
right. So I did put a poll in the chat. If you guys, as a reminder, if you were able to vote, please. Sorry, if you haven't voted, please do. And if you did vote, I really appreciate it. I'm going to be sharing the results before I ask the panel to give us their review of this episode.
I actually voted this morning before I went to work.
Wow. Interesting.
I thought, hey, I
Okay.
don't want to forget, right? So if I had a bad day at work, I might forget. So I thought, oh, screw it, I'll just vote now.
We may have a rare event here. Let me see.
I don't even know how many votes are in the. I haven't looked
I
at
have to
the.
step away for a bit. I'll be right back.
No,
Go for it, Jill.
oh, I'm just looking at back on the YouTube now, and it looks like most of the people that voted are kind of agreeing with my rating, actually.
It looks like it's a fairly good rating. And I like the fact that nobody gave it a C or below. So that's excellent. Most people give it a B to a B minus, which is great. And that's out of 8 votes. Gorilla,
Eight votes,
are there
okay.
right? Gorilla, are there any chats we need to get caught up with?
There's a couple of them. Oh, Greg says cheers. Jim says thanks. O says we welcome our California refugees. We'll make them Texans.
One way or the other, whether they like it or not.
That's good.
Or yeah, I got a good idea. This is very Texan idea. Very Texan idea.
Okay.
We make sure they all go into Austin. Make sure every single one of them goes into Austin. Build a wall around it.
Right, that's where all the liberals
Build a
are.
wall.
Yeah, you're right.
Huh.
Yeah, actually, just pass a law in Texas where all immigrants have to go to Austin to settle.
No. What Texas is doing is brilliant. Well, they can't legally send them back, so right. New York can have them. Chicago can have them.
Right, California, Oregon, yep, Florida and Texas are both doing that. And I think it's a brilliant idea too. In fact, when I was mentioning the article earlier, where the Attorney General and the horrible Gavin Newsom here, they actually said that they're looking to see if they can find any laws that are being broken. They're so desperate, they don't, they won't admit the truth. So they're trying to see if they can figure out any kind of laws that they can get on Texas and Florida. Screw them.
Yeah.
I don't blame Texas and Florida at all. You keep sending them here. All right, move them to where you vote.
Yeah. And Oiler Greg says danger. Oil says lava is great soap for a meteor shower. And Hungry says no blithering bloop. Here's my channel. Hunger says precisely proper cliffhangers, Jill. And Oiler says the tribbles will eat the grain no matter what you do. But you have seen amazing results from modern medicine. Stay positive, Pop. And Oiler says, don't blame me. I voted for Kodos.
Now that is a great comment.
Too soon,
I give that comment an A plus.
Right, you win YouTube for the night. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is so good. That's a good one.
Too soon. Jim says night, everybody. Night, Jim.
Night, Jim.
He says night, Jim. We're all caught up.
Thank you, and yeah, I'm so glad all you guys came by. Thank you.
Hey, I wouldn't miss it. The only way I would miss it if I don't know, if driving home from work I got in a serious car accident or something. Like that's the only way I'd miss these streams, man. No way I'd ever
that'll
miss
never
it.
happen, right? Yeah.
Well, I've seen a few. I gotta say, in the last year, I've seen 2 or 3. You're at the red light and you're waiting for it to turn green, and some fool does some maneuver in the intersection, and you think these people are gonna die. You kind of want to duck your head in case there's like collateral damage, debris flying at your
Right.
windshield. So yeah, I've seen a few close ones, like really close, like within like
Well, here in the
15,
Bay
20
Area,
feet.
here they run red lights all the time. It's a given because
Oh
they've
yeah.
what do you call it? Defunded the police, so now it's a free
Oh,
for
that's
all.
a great
So,
idea, eh?
right, so people are speeding left and right. We're running red lights. I
Right.
have seen people run red lights with a cop sitting there at the intersection. And the cop does nothing.
The cop's too busy eating a donut, probably.
No. What it is the cops know there's no sense. They'll waste more time writing that ticket. That
Oh,
person will be out before there even anything happens
it's the
because
fucking paperwork,
right.
right?
There's
Yeah.
no conviction, right?
Yeah.
So, Gorilla,
Unless you don't wear a mask.
unless you don't wear a mask, Gorilla, what did you think about this episode? What grade would you give it?
I'm gonna give it a B plus for the plain simple fact is that because of Dr. Smith's past, he was about to get his ass kicked just because of his past. It's like the
So close.
It's like the little boy who cried wolf there,
Right, we were so close.
Yeah, so close, but yet so far away.
Right, I hope you weren't too disappointed.
I love the special effects of the monster and all that. It looked so cheesy, like from a $1,000 horror film, but it's no good. Had a nice pacing story, but nothing exciting. Is a little bit predictable of what was going to happen. So that brings it down a little bit, but overall, it's an enjoyable episode.
Right. Thank
I
you,
agree
Gorilla.
with Gorilla. It's a good one. Like it is kind of cheesy, but there's a lot of fun stuff in here. So what the hell?
It's got a lot of heart.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, which is sorely missing these days. Gorilla, tell us about your wonderful channel.
I post a lot of shorts. I just so far I had one that kind of took off a little bit there, but I posted a picture of one of my tools there saying that only Midwesterners know what this is, and it's kind of interesting watching the comments on that one.
I need to see that. I haven't seen that short yet.
Yeah, I've been posting a lot of fishing shorts there, especially when I was catching bait.
I love fishing, so it's nice to watch somebody doing it.
Okay, I might take pictures. I might do some shorts of some of my specialty baits there and stuff.
I was going to ask, what lake is that?
Which one?
Are you going to different lakes when you're fishing?
Well, it's the land of 10,000 lakes.
Oh,
The one with the tiny
I'm
fish.
jealous.
The ones with tiny fish is Independence Lake. The one with the bullheads was a little spirit there.
Uh
Then
huh.
some of them were Loon Lake. You guys can figure out where I'm at from there.
Yeah, but that sounds nice. I love fishing. I miss it. I hope I can do it again sometime.
Yeah, I
Ola
haven't
Greg,
fished in ages.
Ola Greg says if my house floated away like it up, hopefully it will go somewhere cool. Exactly, Ola Greg.
Oh, Up was a really fun little animated film, wasn't it? That was a lot of fun.
Yes, because it was made by Pixar before Disney bought them.
Yeah, and the thing was, did you love how the main character in Up was basically based on, oh geez, what's his name?
Edward Asner.
No, it wasn't the character. Oh, I
I know
can't
Ed
remember.
Asner did the voice. Rest in peace, Ed Asner.
Yeah, but the actual animation of the character was oh god, what's his name? Oh, I'll come back to it later.
Ola Greg says, I forgive honest cheese. Yeah, likewise. Hungry boy. I want to apologize for my anti bloopism, but I can't. LOL. It's okay, everybody. We all want to get our punch into bloop every now and then. I'm just kidding. If I remember right, I don't know if we're going to see bloop anymore. I think that might be it. You guys remember if we get bloop anymore?
Who's Bloop?
There's your answer, everybody. Good night.
To be honest, I hope we never see Bloop
bloop
again.
is bloop is
I
Debbie.
always
Remember the little monkey
yeah,
there,
I
gorilla?
always thought the Bloop
Oh,
I always thought the Bloop character was kind of just a cheap grab to get the kiddies to watch, and
It
I always
was.
thought it was kind of more annoying than useful, right? So
Well, right. It was there. What's funny is it was there for the kids, and that's what the 1998 movie spent a quarter of its budget on that horrible CGI monkey. And I was like, what were they thinking? Well, it's Akiva Goldsman. So, every time I think about that movie of all the lost opportunity, I remember when the Jupiter 2 landed and it showed Don saying, he comes out from behind a wall and says, well, the chariot's a junk pile. And I'm thinking, oh, this effing movie. I hated that movie so much. Orla Gregg says, later, Gators. Good night, Orla Gregg.
night
So good to
oil.
see you. Thank you could join us.
hey,
Thank you
Oiler.
for joining us. And Lemon Pie says, you guys heard they are making a sequel to Up Yours.
Oh, by the way, I just looked it up, and the character in Up, the animated guy that his wife had died and his house floats away. It was based on the real life actor Spencer Tracy.
Oh, that's interesting. So his wife was based on Katherine Hepburn.
Yeah.
Could be
Oh,
because we never see the wife because she's deceased, right?
yeah.
Well, we see the
But I
flashbacks at the very beginning. Remember, there's like that montage.
but I knew I remembered when I watched that film. Totally the animated character looked like Spencer Tracy, and I thought that was so cool that they actually paid an homage to a great actor. Like,
Well, you
man,
could right. You could thank John Lasseter for that because that's one of the things they got rid of him, and he was the first thing they got rid of in Pixar. So that's why it went downhill. But obviously, a person with good taste and experience.
Yeah.
oh,
So
Up is a fantastic film. I highly recommend it to anybody.
And 3D is the 3D version is amazing.
It's a great
Sorry, go
film.
ahead. Gorilla, you had something.
yeah, so
Real.
Lemon, is that sequel? Is that the same as Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money?
Hungry for
Oh
kinder
God.
days says Night Oiler. Lemon Pie says good night, fellow Texan, Mr. Oiler.
Good night, all you cool people.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was so great. I'm so good to see you guys. And Oler says maybe this is a matrix or a dream within a dream. That is very possible. Now, PvP, let me see, let me get you up here.
Sure, I'm here
All
somewhere.
right, there we go. PvP. Tell us what grade would you give this episode and tell us about your channel.
Well, originally I probably would have given this one maybe a C plus because, as I've mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of Peter Packer's stories. Because to be honest, like when you think about the storyline in this one, there's not a hell of a lot there, is there? It's basically, you know, Dr. Robinson and Don figure out a way to do plasma fuel. So they build, this little space capsule that they're thinking can fly to another planet, which seems really implausible if you logically think about it. And it's like you're going to launch this thing with like an 18th century weather balloon. That seems even weirder. But anyway, that's fun because as I mentioned, I think there's a lot of steampunk technology in this one, which I really enjoy. So it's like, okay, that's good. Um, but there's not a lot of a story here. It's basically, Dr. Smith, takes Will in the space capsule. They fly up in the air. They land back on the planet, of course. Smith is totally, delusional, thinking he's on Earth, which there's no evidence of that at all. But and Will's going like, no, I don't think we're on Earth, Doctor Smith. And then they run across our foliage friend, the gardening guy, whatever the
Right.
hell you want to call him, and he basically wants to enslave them to tend his garden forever. And fortunately, Will had the brains to put the tracking, thing on the ship. So Dr. Robinson and Don eventually do track them down, kill our monster of the week, and everything is good again. But as a story, I think it's once again Peter Packer writes very basic storylines. There's not a hell of a lot going on here, right? You basically we got a spaceship. Smith and Will go up into space. They land back on the planet. We get a green monster that wants to hold them prisoner, and then the monster gets killed, and that's the end of the story. So there's not a hell of a lot of intelligent, complex stuff going on here. However,
Yes.
however, now that's why I probably would have originally given it maybe a C plus, or well, I'd probably given it a C minus. Anyway, what boosts it is the crazy cool tech. All the way through this episode, there's these weird gadgets that they roll out. We've never seen these before, like the plasma generating thing with the flames and the cool spaceship that they pull out, of the atomic, reservoir or whatever the hell. Anyway, a lot of cool stuff, cool tech stuff. To me, that boosted it an entire rating. So I'm going to give it a B minus because I think it's a good episode because of that fun stuff with the tech. But it's not one that has a lot of rewatchability, so I probably wouldn't watch it again. But still, it's not a bad episode. So B minus for me.
Thank you. Excellent. And now tell us about your channel.
Sorry I took so long. God, I'm a windbag tonight. It's basically rock and roll again. Actually, I have on the weekend started a new stream, which I haven't posted live yet. It's still private. It's songs that are around 3 minutes or less, right? Most of the songs are probably under 2 minutes. And
Uh,
I got thinking, like, okay, I'm getting bored doing these rock and roll streams, right? How do I keep this interesting for myself or anybody else? And I thought, have you ever thought about how a lot of the best rock and roll songs are like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, like they're short, right?
oh,
And I
yeah.
thought, okay, I'm going to go with a stream with all short songs that are around 3 minutes or under. And it's amazing how I found so many. I probably got like 300 songs on there I pulled
Wow.
down the weekend. Now it's going to take me like probably a month to sort them all out. But yeah, it should be fun once I publicly post it. I think it'll be a lot of fun for everybody. So anyway,
Nice.
I talked too long. I'm done.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Oh, Jill's still away. Oh my goodness.
Jill's still away, so I'll give my review. Let me see here. Okay, I'd like to give this episode. I'll give it a solid B. It's not a B plus or a B minus, but I'll give it a B. I like the growth of the characters between Doctor Smith and Will, and I think Jonathan Harris did a fantastic job with his input uh, of the script. And I think he knows the characters. The fact that he can flesh out lines for him and the people he interacts with. I like the use of the alien, the bush monster or whatever that was called, and I like the fact that they reused the diving bell from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea because I also like that show. I like the well, I'll put it this way: I'm gonna miss in future episodes where we don't see as much of the whole cast. So I like the fact that the whole cast was involved throughout most of the episode. And like I mentioned earlier, even though Judy and Penny didn't get a lot of lines, at least they got screen time and they were there and they were involved. And of course, it started off with the best cliffhanger, my favorite. And and I need to stop using the word "and" over and over. It really holds up. I know it's kind of a weaker episode in some people's minds, but once again, I find it much better than most of the things produced these days. So, Lost in Space will always be close to my heart, and I appreciate that. And as far as my channel is concerned, as you guys know, I do Lost in Space on Mondays. I usually do horror movies Tuesdays, Gilligan's Island Wednesdays. I won't be doing streaming here in the next. Well, I don't know if it'd be days or weeks. I'm not sure about what's going on yet. But I have older. If you're watching this on the rerun, okay, I'm not sure what that was, but okay. I do
It
have
wasn't.
older.
It wasn't me because I've been muted.
I do have older podcasts and reviews. Please check out some of my older stuff there. If you're watching this on the rerun, if you like my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the like, and maybe hit the notification button. I will be streaming from the hospital if my phone will work. But even if I can't stream from the hospital and do my rumblings from the lab, I'll at least keep you guys updated with what's going on. Jill, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm back.
There we go. Jill, and would you like to give us your grade of what you thought about this
Yeah,
episode?
I'm sorry I had to step away. My daughter needed some help.
Oh,
That's
you're
But I'm
the
fine.
sorry.
voice buzz we heard a
The
minute ago.
time the timing was perfect. I was just finishing up.
Yeah,
Okay, great. Well, I gave
very
this
very
episode.
relieved you got back here, Jill.
I gave this episode a B. I like that Peter Packer tried to write some science fiction this time, and he really tried, and I appreciate the effort because the goal of leaving the planet is always the first thing I think about when I watch the Lost in Space episode, even if they didn't really make it off. And and yeah, of course, it's always great to see a new alien, even if they did have to kill it. It seems like every time they meet a new alien, they have to get rid of it.
Not quite like Star Trek, right?
No, but they do explore concepts like that, similar to Star Trek in terms of communicating with some of the aliens. Oh, I guess she does need a little more help, but that was the bulk of my review.
Well, thank you, Bill. Jill,
You have a
we
rating,
both
You're
Jill?
welcome.
Like A,
we
B,
both
C?
gave it right. We both gave it a B, and I appreciate that, Jill.
Awesome. I do have to go away again, though.
Okay,
Oh,
you gave it a B. Okay.
Go for it. Oh, how sweet.
But tomorrow I'm reviewing Mirror Mirror on my channel at noon Central. So
Oh
come
man,
check it out. So
wish I didn't
exciting.
have to work. That's my favorite Star Trek episode of all time.
Right. Be there, everybody. It's going to be fantastic.
I'll have to catch it on the rewatch.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait. I love that episode as well.
Oh, I love
Basically,
that.
it's
That episode is perfect.
right,
You
it's
can't get
basically
better TV than that episode.
yeah, it's basically Sitting on the Edge of Forever Part 2.
Well, that's another perfect one. And I'd put that up there like Doomsday Machine. There's maybe, I have never figured out my top 10. Like, weirdly, I've never sat down and thought about it. But
Well,
those
there's so many good
episodes are
ones.
right
It's
up
hard to
there.
narrow them down, I would say. 'Cause, like if someone was to say, well, I don't know, my absolute favorite is Doomsday Machine, and number 2 might be Mirror Mirror. But I don't know. I like Sitting on the Edge of. They're so good. It's hard to tell.
They're
But it's
they're
just that
they're all kind of interchangeable, aren't they? Pop. They're like
right.
in the top five. Like you know.
Right, but what really pushes from I know this isn't a Star Trek review, But what really pushes Doomsday Machine for me over the top above it, beyond and above everything else, and I will admit it's cheap to say we get the most ship action, but as far as the ships in space and fighting something,
Oh, it's a
and
great.
the
Yeah,
amazing performance by William Wyndham. Between those two, that it's my absolute favorite episode.
William Wyndham is an incredible actor. Like, I think he's one of the greatest actors that ever
Right, and
lived.
he was a last minute replacement. It's like, oh my goodness, thank God, thank good fate turned out that way because
Yeah.
the actor they were that was originally they had written the role for, there's no way he could have. No, no, William Wyndham, no, could not
Yeah,
have.
Wyndham was one of those rare actors that just was masterful on anything he did. You've probably seen the Night Gallery episode. They're tearing down Tim Riley's
From
bar.
Riley's Bar, yes.
Isn't that not a fantastic,
Oh, I wish I could
phenomenal
do a
episode?
stream for the. Right, there's so many people out there, and like a lot of people listening who have never seen Night Gallery. I wish I could do a stream on that.
Well, everybody talks about Twilight Zone because,
They
to be
do.
honest, Pop, as far as Serling goes, Twilight Zone probably was his apex, series, right? But
Yeah, the
Night
Night
Gallery
Gallery
ain't
was good.
bad. The
Right,
thing
the
with
Night
Night
Gallery
Gallery,
is right. Imagine this, everybody. For all you guys who have seen Twilight Zone, imagine the network says, we love your Twilight Zone, it's great, but we wanted you to do the same thing, but with horror.
yeah.
So yeah, it's
And the thing
great.
was,
I love it.
with Night Gallery too, though, it was inconsistent, right? There were some weeks that
Yeah,
were absolutely fantastic, great, well written episodes, and there were some weeks when there were some weaker ones, definitely, right? You
right.
know.
And I would give my left arm, not my right arm. I'll give it a left arm because it's not working. But I'll give my left arm for those damn paintings they had in that show. I love
Oh,
those.
the paint. That's one of my favorite parts of the series is when Rod would walk out every week, into this dark, gloomy, set, this
A
creepy
single
set.
spotlight, right? Single spotlight with just a little
Yeah.
light on each painting.
And he'd walk out in front of these creepy, weird as hell, creepy paintings, right? Like those paintings, I'll tell you, I was like probably in the 70s, I was like a teenager when I saw this shit. And I was totally creeped out by this show.
Where even the paintings were nightmare material before you even
They
get to
were
the story.
horrible, like in a good way. Like
Yes,
they would give you nightmares because they were so well painted, right?
it was. I loved them.
Yeah, it
Hungry
was a
Boy,
great
I'm sure
series.
would probably. Hungry Boy, he's seen everything. I'm sure he would probably give us his input.
I
Gorilla, are you
actually love
still there? How we? Yes,
Grilla.
Gorilla, how are we doing on the chat? I know it's late. I'm sorry.
I'm still there. Just a few more here.
Yeah, poor Gorilla. It's 11:30
Yeah,
almost for him.
we should probably head off soon, I guess, because Jill doesn't like she might not be back. So
Right. Well, we're going to cover the last of the chat, and then I'll show the preview for next week.
Where we got
sounds good.
okay. Hungry says, "Great stream, guys. You all kicked butt.
Thank
Right
you,
Hey,
on,
Hungry.
Hungry.
Pop." Perk says, "I will do my best to watch the hospital streams as much as possible." And
Me
Horta,
too.
and yeah, I'll be there.
There we go.
And
I'll
Hungry
be
says,
there.
"Horta
Yeah.
number one, LOL." So I got something since we're gonna miss tomorrow night. There when we mainly would need this.
Hey guys, getting off the topic. So if we could all get back on the thing and stop all these distract. Oh look, ice cream.
Sorry, I had.
Horda number one.
Looks like we have another Devil in the Dark fan.
Hey,
I agree. I love that episode as well.
I'm feeling very distracted at the moment now. Oh, Jill
Okay.
is here and she's gone away again. Oh no.
Oh, I adored the Night Gallery paintings, all of which were acrylics. Thank you, Hungry Boy. There we go.
The paintings are amazing. I've heard some of the paintings still exist, and there are some in private collections, and of course they
Yeah, I'm
probably
sure they're
cost.
worth some. I'm sure they're worth money. I wish I knew what
Oh,
happened to them.
I'm sure the people that own them paid a small fortune to grab them, right?
Yeah, they probably sold
And
at auction at some point.
yeah, yeah. I haven't thought about it in like 10 years, but I remember reading way back when the paintings still do. A lot of them still do exist, and they are in the hands of private collectors who paid a
Ah,
lot of money to grab them. So
I'm
yeah.
not surprised. I love them. Remind me of the old DC horror comics. Is it
There's just,
EC? EC horror
actually,
comics.
that should be something maybe I'll research that for a future live stream. Is to who were the artists that painted the night gallery paintings?
Yeah, that would be interesting, huh?
Yeah, because I'm not even sure myself. Who those guys were actually.
Okay, and with that, we're going to show our teaser for next week. And I
Yeah,
want to appreciate. I want to thank.
I guess Jill's not ever going to give her rating this week. It appears.
She did. Jill
Oh,
gave
did
it.
she
She
already?
gave it a
Oh,
B.
oh yeah, she gave it right. Okay, we're done then. That's good.
Yeah, Jill gave it a B. So okay, so with that, everybody, thank you, everybody in the chat and in the on the panel. I'm going to miss you guys. As far as streams are concerned, like I said, I will keep in touch from the hospital. Corey Ackerman owns several. Lord knows what his heirs did. I'm not surprised. Corey, Hungry Boy is referring. Let me click on it. To Forrest J. Ackerman, the mastermind behind Famous Monsters of Filmland. And I should
Yeah.
have known it was him that got his hands on him. I remember he was in the hospital when he was dying, and anybody was welcome to come and visit him. But I was living so far away at the time I couldn't, and I wish I could have.
Wow.
But
Well,
yeah, rest in peace, Corey Ackerman.
Forey is a legend. Like I back in the '70s, I was a young teenager, and every month I would rush out to buy Famous Monsters of Filmland
Same here,
magazine, right?
yeah.
And
I love
I
it.
would devour it. I'd open it and I'd read it from cover to cover like a mad genius, right? A mad kid, And it was just like, oh, Forey, and he was the man. Like his Acker mansion, like he had all the memorabilia from so many classic, horror and sci-fi films, right? And
Yes.
yeah, Forrest was, man, what a cool guy, right? Like
You
awesome
can
guy.
knock on his door and he would show you. He would take you through the house. And
Oh
it's like,
shit! I wish I had the chance, but I was just, I was
same
just too much.
here.
I was too much of a young kid back then, and I couldn't even think of going to California or whatever, right? So
Yeah, and I'm sure. I hope his family took care of everything. Okay,
well,
so
the thing is, it's
thank
good
you,
memories.
everybody. Yes, thank you, everyone in the chat. Especially, most of all, thank you, everyone on the panel. I appreciate it. I will keep in touch. We have
Yes, definitely do.
not.
Please do pop. Like we're all concerned about what's going on, obviously. So
Thank you. And I was just now thinking, I'm showing preview for next week's Lost in Space, and I don't know if there'll be a next week or when
well,
it will be. But here's looking for the future. That
Next
here's
time.
let's go
our
for it
next
anyway.
time. Right, our next Lost in Space stream. Thank you, everybody, and I really appreciate it. Have a great night.
You too, pop.
Good night.
Night,
Hope
everybody.
it
Yeah, good night,
goes
everybody.
slow.
Didn't they originally send animals up in space capsules? Mother, come quickly!
He's trying to get us to follow him.
Get away. You've left us almost completely without weapons.